water.
All
I'm
right.
surprised. I don't know. I don't see you as a beer guy.
True.
Carbs. Think of the carbs for bulking.
Bulking, baby.
Fellas, we're live.
Oh, hello.
How's it
Episode
going?
69. What episode is this? 100?
31.
That was close.
So 31. You may have noticed that we're missing a couple people, but what we have lost, we have also gained in spades. So N-Boss, not feeling well. Odin's going to be back with us in our next pod. But tonight, we are joined by a special guest. And actually, Augie, I think this is your first time on the HTL pod. Is that right? Yeah. So we're very glad to have you. What do you got there, Josh?
Oh, sorry. Someone in my chat asked what headset I had, so I was just showing them the box. I use a Corsair Virtuoso. It's not a sponsored thing or anything like that.
Holy shit.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
It should be.
Augie, what headphones do you got over there?
Bear Dynamics DT990s.
Nice.
They're solid. I like them a lot.
I've been wanting to get some. Sorry to like cut off the intro, but I want to get some in-ear like headphones,
Like
the ones
one
that Landmark
peg.
use.
One
Yeah,
peg's
one
got
peg.
some
Landmark,
baller headphones. Yeah,
They're so expensive. They're like
oh yeah,
$1,300 or
$1,000.
something.
IEMs,
Yeah,
man.
I'm about to tap in.
They're no
High
joke.
quality ones are pricey for sure.
But yeah, I definitely noticed a difference like in Tarkov. I used to play Tarkov with like the shittiest Logitech headset imaginable, and then one day it broke, and then I got like a real headset for once, like the first time in my life, and my win rate just went up like 20%. I'm like, I could actually hear people sneaking up on me. I'm just winning more. Like you don't realize how important a good headset is in like those kind of games. Darker Darker included. Like Darker Darker is the same way. Like you gotta hear that rogue creeping. You gotta like be able to track that wizard while he's in Viz. It's super important. Sorry, like going on a random tangent. I just thought of that randomly.
True, we've never even talked about sound before, and like all of our podcasts. And
we touched on it at the creep patch, right? The creep patch.
True.
But that's about it.
Yeah. I listen to music at the start of the round, and then usually like when I go crypt, especially if I killed 4 or 5 people in runes, I'm like, I can probably listen to music for like the first quarter of the match. But there's definitely a time and place, especially when I'm spawn rushing. If I've moved like 1.5 modules from my spawn, I'm like, okay, music's off now for the rest of the round. You have to hear.
So important.
Yeah, I remember back in the playtest days, I was obsessed with tweaking my equalizer to hear footsteps as loudly as possible and spent hours doing it each playtest. And yeah, I don't feel like that's the case as much anymore. I should probably get that dialed back in. Plus, I need new headphones, period. Like these things, these are great for a while. The Cloud Flight S, I think. But dude, the profile on these, I feel like I'm in the 1970s with how big and wide these are. I need some of these slick ones like you guys have. Like Augie's just sit like flush on his face.
Yeah, those are cool.
Josh, yours aren't too bad. Ken's just look like he's straight out of the future. So
I need the RGB. It makes you strong. I'm probably getting brain cancer, but it's
worth. Yeah, these are only $50, so like everyone says the sound quality is pretty good. Also coming through my mic. Like I don't know. Like I still have this. I bought this like 5 podcasts ago, and I've never set it up. But I've got like the fucking $800 Virtuoso.
I didn't even realize that you used. It does sound good actually for a headset mic.
Yep, 100%.
So a lot of headset mics suck. Like you ever watch like Drip Gravy stream? I love Drip Gravy. I love Drip, but God, his mic is awful.
Oh, same with Z-Claw.
Yeah,
Z-Claw Sid, his mic is fucking miserable.
But yeah, actually, on the topic of sound, like sorry, another tangent. Have we like the game sounds different, right? Like since like the playtest days and the early access days, I really do feel like the sound is. I'm not sure if it's better or worse, but it definitely feels way different. I used to feel like I used to feel like there was better directional sound. Now I can still hear people, but like the directional sound feels way worse. And maybe because we have ruins and there's verticality and like the verticality of goblin caves. Maybe it's a verticality thing. Because I know Tarkov struggles with the vertical sound as well, but like horizontal sound is like pretty easy to do. I don't know what it is. It just like came in my head. I was like, I kind of miss the old sound.
That's a very good point. I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of my old videos. I don't know, I should know the answer to this from building YouTube videos, but does directional sound fully come through? I guess it would depend on your settings, but like In those tracks, no, because it's stereo. It's all stripped down, at least for me, to stereo. I'm sure some people might have it set to where when you publish a YouTube video, you could still have full 5.1, 7.1 surround. But for me, most of my stuff's done in stereo. I would imagine that's probably what everybody else does too.
It could just be nostalgia. It could just be me like thinking.
I
of
don't
it.
think you're wrong, man. There's some times where I hear something and it is not at all where I expect it to be. So, yeah, it may be the verticality.
It's all Ruin's fault. I'm gonna get into the Ruins rant eventually. I fucking if I can just dive into it. I hate Ruins. I want I want to like it because like I like some of the modules, but dude, yesterday I was just playing against. I was playing with Majora. We're playing Bard Warlock, and then we just run into a double rogue team, and we like kill one of them, and then this double jump rogue could. We literally went from the bottom left corner of the map to the top right corner of the map in like 40 seconds, and we're like just chasing this guy throughout the entire map, and we eventually got him. But he came in chat after and was like, "What the heck are you guys doing, chasing me across the map? You aggroed every single mob in the game. You almost died 4 times doing it. Like, what are you doing?" And I just something about double jump rogues. I just have to chase them because I'm tired of them. I'm just tired of them getting away with it. They could just take the worst fights possible, go steal your loot, and then just hit spacebar twice and be out of the fight, and it pisses me off.
Yep.
And it's a map issue. It's not even like the double jump issue.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
was shocked that they left that many jump ups in
There's
ruins.
so
after-
many jump ups still, man.
Yeah.
After
There's
they
so
said-
many.
After they said like they're addressing it, like they realize that it's an issue, we're gonna address like the mobility problem on Ruins. Like this is like a point they made in one of their notes, and then
Right.
like it feels worse. Like sadly, and like I was a rogue who abused it for the longest time. Like 6 months ago when the last Ruins patch was, like to mine and just run around and never fight anybody, and like it was fun when I was doing it, but like I definitely think it's not good. Not good at all.
Yeah, to argue on Iron Mace's behalf, I wonder if their thought process was we should make it so that there are very few double jump only jump ups, because I do
Mhm.
feel like the jump ups that exist are accessible by pretty much everyone if you
A lot of
know
them.
exactly where to go, like pixel perfect in a few of them. Some of them are pretty tricky, but there's still, regardless if that was their intent or not, the fact remains it's still way easier if you're a double jump rogue. You don't have to worry about failing any of these jumps, and you can clear them much easier. You can clear them with one double jump versus someone else that might have to jump 2 or 3 times if they get caught on the wrong pixel or block. Then yeah, they still, I feel like they have a massive advantage still on that map. Is there anything else you hate about it though, out of curiosity, other than that aspect?
Well, a little like the mobility, but a lot of it because it comes down to being able to traverse the map just too fast. It's like how it's the same complaints I've had before, where like just going from point A to point B super fast really encourages like third party meta. And like I'm pro third party, but like you shouldn't just be able to spawn in and rush to the other corner of the map in 30 seconds. Like Crips is like very good. Yeah, Crips is very good in like with that, where like if I want to go from the top left corner of the map to the bottom right corner of the map, it's gonna take me 5 minutes of at least opening doors, killing a couple of mobs, opening some more doors, going through some obstacles, and like then you get to your destination. And that's kind of how it should be. Goblin Caves is like somewhere in the middle, but like Ruins is, and well, actually, Ice Caves is probably the best. Traversing through Ice Caves is like the worst. It takes forever. It's almost too far on that spectrum where like having to deal with all those mobs, all those doors. If you get hit by the mob twice, you're just slow, and if you're playing the wrong class, you're dead. Type of thing.
Plus
And,
the
like,
kobold
love Ice
mobs
Caves,
getting
man.
in the way and blocking doors. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's 4,000 mobs, and I play Longsword, and I clear all of them in 10 seconds, and you take 3 minutes to do it.
and I have to sit down.
So-
yeah, I have to sit down.
Yep.
Maybe it's a class issue. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Could be.
it's definitely understandable. You fight one kobold, next thing you know, you have 12 they have to deal with, and I walk through 2 skeletons. So
Yeah, it's super disappointing because like some of the modules on Runes, like I love fighting in some of the modules. Like a lot of the top modules, like where the double harpy room is, I like that's a fun room to fight in.
Yep.
The graveyard's a fun module to fight in. Just fighting in that whole strip, like across those modules, is like very fun. Bridge is always fun as long as there's no rangers, but there always is. So that's not, that's all right. Some of the bottom, like the
Always
wolf, the one module with the wolves and the rock, the big rock, that's a fun one to fight in. There's a lot of like individual cool modules, but just as a whole, the map really is kind of a failure to me. I wish it was good because it has good moments.
Agreed. Hey, let's take a quick step back here and give Augie a proper introduction.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good because I'm realizing now that the last time that he and I think, had a chance to chat that was not in game or on someone else's stream was probably back when you did a player profile. We went through the whole history. Yeah, it's been a hot minute for
It's
sure.
been a year or so.
Yep. And for some of our viewers, they may not have come across your content before, so let's give a quick shout. Why don't you do a quick intro for the fans here? I'll set you up, and then you can take it away. But Augie is an OG and is probably the very first person to cut, let's say, at least multiple videos on longsword expertise, and he's been doing this since, is 2022 accurate, or did you start in 2020, early 2023?
No, 2022. I started.
Yeah.
What was it? I think the first video I put out was playtest 3. So
Yeah.
2022. Yeah.
Holy shit, censor it. Sorry,
And
So bad
since
getting wild,
then,
man.
you have stuck to your main. I know you've played fighter far and away more than anything else. Have you dabbled in any other classes? I think you did warlock for a hot second because they could use longsword, but you're still main and fighter as far as I know, right?
Yeah, I got too many fighter characters. Wizard's my second favorite class. I haven't played it. I didn't play it last wipe even, but I kind of didn't like the game much last wipe. So, but yeah, I just play fighter. I
John,
played
how's
warlock when it
Augie
first came
sound?
out, but wasn't bad.
You didn't like the game last wipe? Like last season?
What was that?
Last season, you weren't a fan of the.
Nah, man. Last season I played solo the whole season because I got no friends. So what I did was play solo trios and solo duos the entire wipe instead of solo solos, because I hate solo solos because everyone runs away. But if you're solo and duos or solo and trios, people come fight you, and then you can, I'll play with the longsword and stomp them out. So
That's fair. That's fair.
it was actually way more fun doing that shit than playing solo. So
I was a huge fan of the season, like last season, for the most part,
Yeah.
until the end, until the multi-class thing. They
the multi-class.
Right.
they completely they took a good season and just nosedived it in true Iron Beast fashion.
Yeah,
we
dude,
won't
it
even
was
start on
rough.
that.
The only saving grace for the multi-class for us was I held a longsword tournament. We had I think 42 people show up for it, and I made everyone roll for backstep off ranger, and everyone played. We did a longsword duel tournament, longsword versus longsword, with no skills, no shield mastery. So there's a lot of parrying off parries and riposte, and everyone had backstep, and it was wild.
There are
fun.
so many. There's so many longsword. There's so many longsword enthusiasts in this game. I feel like
It's wild.
every new player that loads in the Darker Darker, they get the fighter default. They're like, oh, dude, the longsword, it's so cool. I just want to hit that parry, dude. And I always say, I say it's a noob trap because they watch an Augie video, like, oh, dude, I want to do that. Like, I'm gonna try the longsword. And then I run into them in a game, and they're just there with their fucking hand up for 20 minutes, just dying, getting hit in the toes, and I'm like, oh, this
Little
poor
parry
guy.
gremlins, man.
This guy wants to be the main character so bad.
Yep.
I killed a dude in all legos, and he had on my rogue. I'm stabbing him with a Rondel, and he was just sitting there holding it. I was like, "What the fuck is he doing?" I have a dagger. I was like stabbing him in the knee. I stabbed him in the shoulder, one in the head, and he died. I was like, he must It makes me think they have garbage. And I lit him. I'm like, he's all legos. Why didn't he just left click? I'm a fucking rogue. He probably would have two shot me.
And even if they parry the dagger, it's still hard to riposte it. You have such a small window.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, true.
So small.
It's like 0.13 seconds for
it's crazy.
parrying or dagger.
Jeez.
Right
wild.
click.
It ain't the play.
So,
But when
Augie,
you hit it though,
you mentioned that you weren't a fan of last wipe. How is this wipe treating you so far?
So the start of this wipe had me upset. I mean, they left the balance kind of not great for a hot minute. I didn't enjoy too much. I stopped playing solos. I've started playing literally viewer trios every time I get on the game. I just invite whoever wants to play. Hey, whatever, come play. We'll go do some bosses. We'll get your quest done. I don't want to play solos. Hook me up, boys. So literally the past 2 weeks I've been doing stuff like that. It's been way more fun. I love Arena. Arena is a wildly good time. I had many longsword bros running around with 4 pocket windlasses. I think that was mostly me. If you dealt with it, I apologize. But the first weekend of arena, we were just literally running around shooting people with windlasses because it was all gray gear stuff, and it wasn't like, dude, it was just go have fun. It was so good. It was so good.
It's just fun. Like the arena, there's no risk. It's just a good time. I've been very critical. Like I don't think it's like done optimally. I don't think it's the best version of arena that it could be. But I always say I have a ton of fun with arena. Like I love. For sure. Whenever arena's out, the game is better. Like 2 days a week, I'm like, this game is good again. And then like 6 days a week, I'm like, oh, I guess I got to go into the dungeon. All right. Yep. I guess.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I like the change they did with the mobs and the like the round state staying, so you can clear mobs. You can focus on mobs at first. You can bum rush to try and take an advantage off the other team if they're clearing something. I played a couple modules today that were like, Jesus Christ, guys, can we not put these modules in rotation? Though?
Which ones? Which ones? I feel like we all have the same opinion.
Bro, the Inferno module with the stupid columns that go up the sides, and everyone has to run through the middle. And if you're slower, you don't get up there. And then it's like, all right, well, let me just sit down here, throw everything in my inventory at you, shoot all my crossbow bolts.
That map would be so fixable. Because that map is actually really fun to play on, but like, yeah, I agree. If you don't get those spawns and you can't get high ground, it just sucks ass. But you can just fix that by having a ladder on each side, and like the problem is solved. Yeah, it's so simple.
For sure.
This is like I did like old like mid 2000s like Counter-Strike map making, and like it's so easy to fix. Like these are such basic issues. A lot of these maps can just be fixed by like a ladder or a staircase or just like stopping a jump.
That's the only problem I have with Arena. Is they just grabbed some modules and threw them in there, and they didn't, you know, like QA test a decent balanced approach for each side for going through the modules and stuff.
Yeah.
But, so in the future, maybe see something like that.
To weigh in though about the mobs, like I've been very vocally like anti-mobs in Arena for a long time, but I have said like if you are gonna have mobs in Arena, this is how you do it. Make it so they don't respawn. You know, it's okay. But I'm kind of curious, like how do you think about mobs? Do you think mobs are good? Would you want to see it without mobs? Do you want to try it? Are you pro mob?
I like the mobs. I like how they settled in with the mobs. What map? The center crypts map with the gold piled in the middle. I love that map. There's too many mobs because the module itself has too many, right? But with the kind of centered sub bosses that you can, you know, if you're unlucky, you might trigger them if you first step out, but 9 times out of 10 you don't. I like that. I like that concept of that room because I think the mobs are important. The mobs force people into positions that they shouldn't be in if they're not paying attention. It's part of Dark and Darker, so I like it a lot. I mean, I got shot in the head by a crossbow skeleton, and it screwed my fight over, and I lost. And I should have killed the damn crossbow skeleton when I walked. You know what I mean? But I think just if they... Some modules might need it toned down, but I think repositioning some of the mobs, at least for the arena matches, would be going along. So things aren't uneven on each of the spawns when you come out there. That's the only thing I think is an issue. Like the ice caves module with the 2 bridges, dude. And you go out the west side and there's a kobold. There's a kobold on the other side. You go out the east side, there's a giant. There's 4 kobolds. A frostwalker walked up the stairs. The frostwalker walked up the stairs from the other side. The guy rushed you. He jumped in the water, brought the other frostwalker. It's like, dude, hold up. This module sucks.
Yeah, I think it's a mini boss issue. I don't think mobs. I think it is like some of the mini bosses, right?
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. Yeah,
right.
Because some class, like you play fighter, you play a class that can actually kill the mobs. Whereas, like if I wanted to go battle the shield froster, it's gonna take me unexaggerated a minute and a half to kill it.
Yep, a long time.
I don't think the enemy team is gonna let me sit there for a minute and a half killing the mob. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And that's something I try and stay on that stuff. Like, I mean, I play Longsword, and Longsword is by far the absolute best PvE weapon in the game. So I'll go out a door in arena and literally clear 6 mobs. And the guy that's playing Wizard with me is, you know, trying to throw a fireball at one thing by the time I've cleared 3 different or 4 things.
Yeah.
So, and that's true. My opinion gets very skewed on PvE in this game because of my 1,800 hours of Longsword gameplay. So,
yeah. For sure. Like I said, the mobs are interesting because like a lot of times in arena, like it's a best of 5 set, and I just like sometimes I'll beat my team like, all right, we're on this map, we're just gonna sack round 1. We're probably gonna lose round 1 because we're gonna spend time killing these mobs, but that's okay because we'll win 3 somewhere down the line. And I do kind of like that strategy aspect of it. Is like, okay, we're taking a disadvantage round 1 to get an advantage for rounds 2 through 4, and like that's kind of cool. I kind of anything that makes you think and makes you make strategic decisions is always good. And Mobs do that to a degree. I do want to see them test Arena though with no mobs, just to see how it is. You know, get opinions on it, because they did the poll on Twitter. Is like, oh, do we like mobs in Arena? Yes or no? And that's cool to get that information, but we haven't even tried it without mobs. So how could you actually have an opinion?
How would anyone know?
How do
you
know?
Can't really have an informed opinion at all if you didn't do both.
Do you prefer chocolate or vanilla? But you can't taste the vanilla. You can only taste the chocolate. You know?
Yeah, that's true. No, I don't. I think you're right. I think there's no reason not to just pull all the mobs and test it at least.
And just 1 week, you know.
I agree. Yeah, for sure. I
agree.
Yep.
So the last time we talked about Arena, our last podcast was October 1st. So a lot has changed since then. That one change, I think, I agree with you guys, has gone a long way. I could see either the current state being good. I do not. One thing I do know, I don't want to go back to where the mobs are fully respawning every round.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely don't want sub or mini bosses as part of the mix. But I do think there is probably an argument to be made for either the current state or no mobs. We'll just have to see what the meta becomes when there's no mobs, and if it just becomes a barbarian buff ball rush fest where they can just, you know, with abandon be at your door before you even get out. Then
please God, send the barbarians my way. I love it.
Yeah, you're down for that. Yeah. I'm not, as the cleric in the backline. I'm not a fan of the barbarians chasing me down before I even get my 26 buffs off. So yeah,
cleric is so good, Arena. Dude, cleric is
so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Like I don't think a lot of people know this. I'll say this real quick. If you're struggling to play against Longsword Bros, anyone out there, you need to play one of the maces. The maces have one of the lowest recovery times after a one hit, and they don't get interrupted by the longsword. You will literally, if you have it takes 5% action speed on your kit. You can literally parry or block longsword riposte with shield mastery and everything. You throw an attack and you'll crouch and you look up to the right slightly and throw your shield up. You'll block 9 out of 10 ripostes.
No kidding.
I've noticed if you're just a full heavy cleric and you just like swing your Lightbringer into a longsword, even if you parry riposte it, if you just keep swinging, you might just win the trade either way. It's crazy how like strong like a Hound Skull cleric is with perseverance to PvE. It's ridiculous. Very strong.
Yeah, I need to craft a Lightbringer. I haven't got one of those. I found a legendary Morning Star that I was able to mint, and I got all excited about that, so I've just been running it. And I've never been a fan of the mace ever. I just like the Morning Star so much more. But for Arena, I think the mace does make more sense, especially if you can bring in a crafted Lightbringer.
I mean, you're lucky you waited. Now with the price of Firefly Abdomen, it went from like 9K down to whatever it is now, like 400 or 500.
Yeah, it's a couple.
Is it really? I haven't checked. Holy cow!
Cheap now.
Cheap.
Wow, why the big change?
I think everyone
people caught on.
Yeah. Plus, like once people like when I released my guide, which it didn't get that many views, but like my money making guide was to just go run like all the golems for the Firefly Abdomen, because they were selling for like 9, and then it went to like 8, 7, 6. Like it went all the way down. But it only took 4 or 5 days for it to drop. I think most people either got their Lightbringer or just finished their quest or whatever.
Well, a lot of it was people didn't know, right? People didn't like.
Yeah.
Well, where do we get these things?
It was high, so like, you can get them pretty quick.
And you can get
sorry, my camera. Like I didn't charge my headset. I've been streaming for 12 hours, so like there's not enough slots on my computer for like all my headset shit plus the camera.
It's all good, bro.
Yeah.
No stress.
Yep. So speaking of drop rates, one of the biggest topics of conversation as of late is the increase to big time loot in both the normal and high roller dungeons. That was in the latest hotfix. So our very own So Bad Strange was famously quoted in the last episode as telling everyone to quote unquote stay poor. But now the good folks running the normal realms might not be so poor, because I've been picking up some crazy juicy gear out of Inferno, and I've seen Odin and a couple of you guys posting screenshots of some of the stuff that you've been picking up in there. It is wild. But before I rant too long about it, Augie, let's hear your take first, and then we'll go to Ken and then Josh. How do you feel about the loot buffs?
More stuff, more fun for sure. Like there's a lot of people that don't get to touch anything good in the game. All the free to play players that show up and just play a little bit, and they find stuff easier, and they're like, "Oh shit, this is so cool! I got this good ass item." You know, and they're not even trying to sell it; they're just trying to use it because they don't have access to the marketplace. It keeps people around. The game's still hardcore, even if there's easy to get loot. You're still gonna lose all your shit if you die. Someone's gonna take it. You're still gonna die in 2 hits if someone's better than you and they know how to play around properly, depending on class matchups. So I don't think it hinders too much of the game. It might make it a little too accessible for some of the people that know how to get the stuff that they want to get. But I mean, like I said, I've been running viewer groups for the past week and a half or so, and we just go in and under 25 and play a 0 to hero, and everyone has fun, and it's a great time. So I think.
Oh yeah. Ken?
I love it. Like for the first time in months, like I see a box and I want to open it. It's been a long time since I wanted to open a box, but like there could be anything in there. I've got some mint bis out of just random small oak chest in Inferno.
Yeah.
We were testing out luck the other day. Me, Cam, and Majora. Like Cam was running like a crazy luck set, and on the bosses in HR, like you notice it. Luck is real. For the longest time, you're like, is luck even worth it with the old loot like drop rates? But you definitely feel it now. We got like double unique twice, not named unique, but like double unique like rarity off boss like twice in a row.
In
and, like,
normals?
No, it's just HR.
Oh,
but
okay.
I have seen uniques and normals. Like it's
I pulled a unique Dark Grove hood off a normal. I think it was the normal Lich, or was it normal Ghost? Ghost, I think. Nope, wrong again. It was the other one. It was Warlord. I had to think about that for a second. Yeah, it was me and Racked actually. Unique Dark Grove hood that was almost perfectly rolled too. It was awesome.
Yeah, and like not even just the bosses, just like going into hell, just killing the mobs, opening a golden chest. Like lockpicks are at a premium right now. One lockpick can get you 3 legendaries. It's crazy how strong the loot is, and like players now have access to it. I am definitely noticing like way more geared players now. People could just play the game and acquire items and like stand a chance. And I'm sure that feels great for them. It feels good for me because I get to fight people that are geared like that. Nothing feels worse than like being geared in like HR or normals and like killing somebody and he's just in piss. I'm like, oh, I feel bad. But like now these people, they have access to good items. Now when they lose, it's because they're shitty human beings and they suck. It's not a gear diff. And that's all I ever wanted.
Yep. And the pain of them losing that gear is far less. SDF said a while back how he understood or recognized the weight of clicking the go button, right? The ready up. I'm paraphrasing here. Basically, he's saying like it's stressful. It's an undertaking. Like you have to prepare yourself. And a lot of people are like feeling the weight of clicking that. And now it's like gear is so accessible that if you do have a bad beat, you just lose a fight because you got outplayed. It just feels so much better to know that you don't have to spend a half a day to get those items back. And it's not only the boxes, man. I found legendaries on random mobs in crypts, normal crypts. Like, just, it's wild. Now, I was running a lot of luck at the time, but it is pretty wild. And I know Josh never loots mobs. He doesn't have time for that. I wonder if he's changed his tune.
I have not changed my tune. The right after the hotfix, I looted 1 nightmare skeleton and instantly got a legendary. And I posted it to Reddit. I was like, holy shit, like we're getting legos off literal just skeletons. This is pretty wild. Saw people even in norms pulling like legendary loose loot, bis off a shelf. And overall, it's an incredibly good change. One pet called me on his video for probably not going to be liking the hotfix because of like the stay poor incident and yada yada. But honestly, everyone in HR has way more gear. You're not really like gear checking people as much as we used to. It's really fun. People take fights. Like you said, when you die, you just go next, you run it back. And a lot of people who don't have that good of gear yet, for whatever reason, you can be pretty sure it's going to stay on the body. Like when I loot people, I do like, a little cursory, like Tarkov glance at all their stuff. And I'll take a few pieces unless they're super juiced. But otherwise, like I think people are just getting way more gear back more often. It doesn't hurt as bad. You run I did normals with one peg and end boss, and like one norms run, we were finding like as a trio group, assuming we boss, and this is 3-layer crypt, but you do like one 30-minute rotation, and you're bound to get like 5 to 10 legendaries. And we were getting like tons of legendary gems, like everybody can do their gold coin chest quest. And like overall, it's just a way, way, way better system. And going forward, I genuinely feel like we don't need to change gear anymore. We don't need to bring the power of the lower gear up or the higher gear down because everyone can get geared and everyone and like you can get off-world legendaries for like 100 or 200 gold off the auction house.
Yeah.
So I just feel like the gear is at a really good place. I would love to just play with this for the next couple weeks before it gets changed anymore. Like I want to let SCF cook and I want to see what's going on with the socketing, but like overall, I would like it if we just stay with this patch for like the foreseeable future.
I'm with you 100%. And you're bringing up a another topic that was on our list. So since we last talked, SDF released his mission statement in the Discord, and one of those big ticket items that he talked about was what you just said, squishing gear down. And it was my speculation at the time, at least my hope, that what he meant by that was squishing it down, because he mentioned specifically random modifiers, right? That those, he made it sound like those might be going away entirely. And I'm with you right now. I think we should kind of let this ride for a little bit. But if he is going to remove random modifiers, I hope that they don't do that until they're ready for socketing. I'm with you on that.
All right, maybe let me lead on this. I might have a hot take.
Take
I'm kind of for changing gear for the most part. I think timing is everything, though. Kind of like what Sobet said. I don't think they should do it mid-season. This is something you do at the very end of a season with a notice. You let your players know, okay, next week we're doing the big gear change. So use your items now. And then the last week we're going to implement this change, and we're going to test. We're going to spend the last week like testing for the next season, and then you can take if it's good or bad, you can let it ride into the new season and start there. But like nothing feels worse than like building up wealth, like getting gear sets, making gear sets that are viable, and then like having it all altered mid-season during your ranked season, by the way, with like AP and stuff. Like that always feels bad. So like I'm all for letting SCF cook, but like timing is very important. To kind of extrapolate on that, I think they should change gear back to how it used to be, where like for base stats. If you remember, like months ago, like white and gray rarity gear would give you 1 base stat, green and blue would give you 2, purple and legendary would give you 3, and then unique would give you 4. Instead of it being linear of an additional 1 per rarity. I think that was like fine. I think that was okay because right now you can get like plus fucking 50 base stats just from your gear rarity, which is crazy. That's super strong, super strong. I think just going back to how it used to be and having more emphasis on the RNG rolls, which it doesn't sound like that's what SCF wants. I'm kind of ranting here, but I'm kind of curious what you guys think about like what you'd want gearing to be like if they do change it, which it sounds like they're going to.
Augie, thoughts?
I mean, gears. I don't play the game the same way as most people do. I'm pretty. I run around in normals very often with a top helm, heavy gauntlets, and adventure boots. And nothing else. And like I just fool around. And whenever I put gear on, I get pretty sloppy the way I play, for sure. But I Longsword Fighter hits way above its weight class 9 times out of 10, especially if you're good at playing the weapon and playing the game with spacing, which I'm pretty good at it personally. I think so. I steal a lot of stuff from a lot of people that probably are like, "What the fuck? This is overpowered as shit," and I understand. So crunching gear. I mean, gear's pretty important in the game, man. What do you like? It's not a competitive game. It's a looter dungeon crawler. We can't make gear too close, I think, across the rarities, or the shine of finding something new kind of goes away, and it takes away from the game. I think it'll detract. If he's trying to make the game more competitive across the game for everyone in the different gear levels and bracket levels of skill, then I guess that's the right step, though, is squishing gears some more. I'm kind of with Ken. I don't think the way they did it before was an issue either. like rather than the linear progression on stats. Because like if I suit up in full legendaries, even just random piss, I have way too many stats that just make the game infinitely easier. So at least compared to running like the 124, because the 124 lobbies that they do in this game right now, I think they're still around, right? They're wildly fun.
I love it.
Wildly fun.
That's all I play. I play so much.
Oh yeah, dude, it's so much fucking fun.
Because it's like you have just enough stats to like make a build unique, but like not too much like gear score real estate to abuse it.
You can't cover everything. Yeah, you can't cover
you have to choose.
everything.
Like, oh, I want some damage. Oh, then I guess I can't have 150 health. Oh, I want to be fast. Oh, I can't do that much damage. I'm like, I have to make a choice, which is like nice actually.
I do like it as well. I agree. So, and again, that comes down to what I think is, do we want a competitive mode or do you want it to be a dungeon crawler that's a looter game where loot matters a lot? So if they make Arena the competitive mode, it's all good. You do whatever,
You took the words right out of my mouth. I think based on what SDF's statement said, if we take it at face value, I don't know why there would be as much of a need to squish the gear, because I agree. You need the carrot. You need the dopamine hit from finding the better items. And unless he comes up with a really innovative or compelling way to do that, maybe socketing is the plan for that. I would actually like to see a hybrid system where you actually are finding maybe 10 to 20% of the items out there are socketable, and the rest of them have random modifiers on them. And maybe you're squishing the random modifiers down a little bit more, but I think it's really quite good the way that it is. I wouldn't get too bent out of shape if it went back to the way that Ken you just laid out, where it was 1 common, 2 green, and then legendary was 3 and 4, and unique was 5. Is that right?
Yeah, or something like that.
Or epic and legendary
was 3, and then unique was 4. Unique was 4, I think, or was it 5?
Oh, okay. So maybe green and blue were both 2.
Green and blue was 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I'd hate.
I mean, like depending on what he wants to do, you could do green and blue as 1, and then purple and legendary is 2, and then uniques are 3, and that's like a pretty big squish. And then what the subreddit was talking about that had the most upvotes that I saw and I could agree with would be like all riveted gloves are 3 strength, and all like no matter what the color variant of the gear is, it has the same base stats, and then it's really only the random modifiers that start to carry. And like that's not that bad of a change, because you still want like the random modifiers. There's still like the fun part of looting, and you're like, oh, it has double health and add damage, like that's kind of bis now. And so then that brings up the lower gear level like a bit, and it brings down the higher gear levels like kind of a lot, but not like too much. And that does make it more competitive. But kind of like I said, I'm a little bit nervous going forward. Usually, like I love to let them cook, but like I just feel like right now it's pretty easy to acquire gear. And like if you sold everything you got from a single normals under 25 run, you would definitely be able to buy like a 2 or 3K kit to go to HR with. And that's enough. Like right now, 2 or 3K in HR is competitive. And then like 5 to 8K is like the upper limit of like the stat lines. So I don't know, like I'm okay, like let him keep going, and I don't really know what's gonna happen with socketing. Like I like your idea of kind of like 20 to 30% of the gear has socketing, and then you put your affixes onto it, I guess. So it's not random, but I don't know, like the fact that Terrence said that they did like 3 to 4 variations of socketing and he just like couldn't figure it out, I feel like is honest, and it's like interesting to hear from a dev perspective that like an idea that he wants to add, he's like, fuck, like this isn't working. And like I can imagine maybe it has the stat lines plus socketing like Diablo.
Why couldn't they take that mentality for Druid though? Why couldn't SAF just like be cooking Druid and be like, man, I just can't figure this out. Let's just scrap it, I guess.
Dude, you were talking about double jumping rogue on ruins. I fucking
Druid's worse.
Druids,
it's the same problem though. Same exact thing. It's the same thing. Sorry to cut you off, but
you're like fighting him and he goes into a rat into a grate, and I'm just like, I don't like, when he goes through like a little gate, or like chickens through like a crack in the wall, I'm just watching, like I feel like I'm watching my soul leave my body, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna choose to leave because this is bullshit, and then it's time to go.
On the topic of Druid, since Augie's here, like since Augie, you're like the honorable fighter player. how do you deal with druids? And
Yeah.
do you deal with them?
Dude, it's so easy, man. I'll parry
Endless.
the bear form 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah,
End of story.
that's good. That's good. Yeah.
End of story. And if they don't know and they don't do that 180, so I hit them in the ass, I'm blasting them in the face for a lot of damage. So, and a lot of them are greedy bastards. There's a few druid plays I've come across that are very good. They manipulate, going rat form, going panther form, relocating, trying to bait me into chasing with the torch out, and then into a bear overhead, you know. But even still, if I'm paying attention, it's pull out, crouch, give myself the extra, 10th of a second time, and then I'm still parrying them and killing. My issue is rat form, like so bad say, going some random little fucking location. So it's it's
Yeah, you're never catching a druid, right? Like if they want to run away,
no,
there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
No, end of story. I've fought a few that have been fun in the arena since arena's about the only place I run gear these days. I don't, like I said, I just go fool around. But in arena, there's no fucking gear limit, so I'm just taking whatever I got. And I've come across some good players in there, but literally every single one of them are degens that rely on bear a little too hard, and they'll just die. So,
isn't it interesting that the druid feels way more balanced in arena though, because they just can't run away. They're stuck in a 1-by-1. They have to play the game. It's like crazy. Actually, it doesn't feel as bad. I was thinking about that because you brought that up. It's like maybe the issue really is just the mobility. The kit itself, like, is strong, but it's the strong kit paired with the mobility that just like, and like the maps being so traversable that makes it so annoying. But once they're stuck in a 1-by-1, like, all right,
that's
like,
that's my biggest gripe with Druid is they introduced a pretty insane movement tech into the game. Remember playtest 5, the uproar of double jump being added to Rogue. And granted, it was a lot of it had to do with being able to get on top of fucking ruins, but just as much of it was because they could literally do whatever the fuck they wanted in the middle of a fight and say, I'm out. And I mean, you can still do that even with the move speed penalty on it, but like Druid is like 4 or 5 times more movement than that. That's the next best movement thing in the game, really, is double jump. Like compared to Panther Chicken flying across the room into mouse through a door. And it's like, it has a penalty on it still. The second best thing has a penalty compared to what Druid can do, and that's just fucking wild still because of the movement. So.
It's like I'll get the opener on a Druid, I'll hit him with a fireball, then I'll like splash him in Dreamwalk. I'm like, oh dude, I got him right where I want him, and then he just Panther dash triple jump, and he's literally in the next module. I'm like, all right, I'll try again in 30 seconds when he comes back. Crazy.
Don't see a lot of them in the ice caves though, because of the door not having the window in there, and I just think they they like to hang out in the goblin caves and in the castle a lot more because of it. So Augie, you don't do the AP grind then, huh?
Not anymore. It's not fun in solo. I just don't enjoy solos. Like if I'm being flat out honest, the game is a 3 out of 10 in solos. Solos is the absolute worst way to play the game. When you compare it to duos and trios, like trios and duos are a 7 and an 8 respectively for me.
Yeah.
Like the game is so much more enjoyable. It plays so much better. Playing with people. I don't know. Maybe it's just that. Maybe I'm just sick of playing by myself. But man, I've played solo since like March, and I just would rather go play solitaire. So I'm sick of it.
Hey,
I'm not gonna lie. I hate solo.
Don't insult solitaire. Like solitaire is bliss. I love me some solitaire.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm very skewed, so I don't do the AP grind. If I had a buddy that wanted to do duos or trios, I'd do it in that. But I won't play solos. I don't enjoy it enough. So I'd rather just, and I get 2-3 hours to play the game, and I'm just out. So I'm not gonna go beat my head against. That's why I hate quests. I fucking hate quests, dude. I hate quests so damn much.
Really?
Yeah, I hate questing. I don't like questing any game, so I don't like it here. I don't want to get on for my 2 hours and spend an hour and a half of it chasing down, doing a specific set of things instead of having fun going and yelling and VoIP at people to fight me while I'm half naked and stuff. It's more fun.
Well, do you still pick them off as an auxiliary benefit though? So do you at least like kind of check in if you're sitting down at a campfire? I say raid and
fuck no,
no,
I don't. Unless someone will be like, Augie, you need that. I'm like, I got 12 people in my stream and 8 of them are yelling at me to do quests. I'm like, settle down. It ain't happening. And I'll pick up the item they do and then I'll forget about it and then I'll sell it. I won't even turn it in. I'll just
Me
sell it
too.
without even paying attention, dude. So like, it's rough, man. The only quest I focused on this time was getting armorer so I could roll a ruby silver curious for arena, and getting grim smiles because grim smiles are insanely good value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So other than that, that's it.
What about all the emotes though, man? Like, how are you going to survive without having your wheel full of all these BIS emotes for the kids?
I got the war horn and I got the snappy fingers, and I'm good. I'm
You
done.
got everything you need. Yeah, that's all you need.
You just buy them next season. That's what I told
There
my
you go,
friend.
right? They
that's-
did add them
that's
back
true.
That's
in,
like
man.
$5, dude. I'm not questing. If I
Sure.
never went to Ice Cave again, I would be just so blissful and happy.
Yeah, so my thing on questing is I don't mind them for the most part. I fucking hate the ice cave quests, but like the rest of them, I don't mind doing them. Like they're hard, sometimes they're annoying, but like at least I'm playing the map that I want to play on, and like I'll just do
Yeah.
them passively. But like when you're forcing me to go to the fucking ice caves and go down to Ice Abyss and kill 15 Wendigos, fuck you, SDF. I'm sorry, bro. Like you sick freak, dude. I hate it down there. It's so hard as a wizard too. Like whenever I want to do my ice cave quest, I'd have to wait until end boss got on. I'm like, end boss, please. I need you to kill these mobs for me. I cannot survive the ice abyss. I tried doing solo ice abyss for like 2 hours on stream the other day, and like I just kept dying the mobs. And this is so embarrassing. I'm 5-time rank 1. And I can't kill a fucking skeleton. This is ridiculous. But anyway,
That's funny, man.
for the most part, I like the quest. I don't like that they're like super mandatory though. I feel like right now to be competitive in arena, maybe not anymore because the loot changes, but like previously, like you had to do quest to participate in arena, which feels bad. All quests should be like optional. You should be able to like play the game to a decent level and not have to quest if you don't want to. Because there are lots of people like Augie that don't want to quest. Some seasons I don't want to quest. Some I I can only do them so many times before like I need a break from quests. But then when I don't do them, I do feel very punished, which like it's kind of rough. I don't know, maybe it's not a bad thing.
I mean, it was the arena thing for me. The only thing that pushed me. I played last week with a couple guys that wanted me to wear gear, and I'm like, guys, I got Divine Blade. It's blue. Can you settle down? My chest piece has spellcasting speed on it. All right. What do you want me to do in this arena right now? I don't even have Grim Smile. like, come on, boys. I gotta go quest. I hate you guys, so I went and quested.
Yeah, but now with the loot drops, like you probably could just get decent gear,
Nah,
like decent
exactly,
legendaries.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do it really fast now.
No,
but before the patch,
Especially
though, like it
trios,
was super
yeah.
hard.
No, I agree. It was mandatory before the patch. If you
Mhm.
wanted minted gear, that's why I'm glad going forward. I really don't think we're gonna have an arena season this wipe unless like they just like the court case ends on the 24th or whatever,
Mhm.
and they just like dive in. Because I mean, if the wipe is gonna be December, I don't know when. Like I know it's December. I just haven't like. Does anybody know when the wipe is? Like they said December, right? That's Iron May
That's
said
what has been
December.
hinted at. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so assuming like that's mid-December, it's still a long way away. That's still like 40 days away. So like theoretically, maybe like in early November or even like midway through November, they could do like the season where like you climb from neophyte or like pleb, plebeian up to like gladiator, and then there's cosmetics associated with that and some sort of reward for next season. And I think that would be perfect. Like it's just something else to do, and maybe it's less hard than Demigod. Although now with the changes to AP, I feel like Demigod's easier than ever. Like I just started on my Warlock and I got 1,000 AP like the very first round, and like I'm good at the game, but like you can sort of, you know, like wander around and kill monsters and loot random shit now and get like 500 to 700
yeah,
per round.
500 to 600 is kind of where I'm trending as a cleric who has extremely slow clear speed. But yeah, and that's chilling though. Like I'm playing pretty cautious in the ice caves, and like 600 is an average game. I've had a couple 700 games, and I'm barely clearing 2 modules and then trying to pick off a Wendigo and a 3rd module sometimes. But that's playing pretty conservatively with a very slow clear speed. So yeah, I could see how 1,000 would be possible for a lot of classes, even without bossing.
Yeah, and then I think for arena, if they're gonna have an MMR, it doesn't even have to be that like punishing. Like maybe it's like -3 on a loss and like plus 10 to 15 on a win.
Mhm.
So you could take like a pretty good amount of losses and still climb up to gladiator.
Well,
I
you
think
use
that
you
would be
use an
cool.
you use an elo system, right? Where if you're fighting people who are higher ranked than you get more points, and if you're
Yeah.
punching
Mhm.
down elo, it's like
Yeah.
this has been figured out before. There's
Right.
tons of arena games where elo works fine. They could just
Yep.
steal something from Mordau or World of Warcrafters, anything along those lines, and it would be totally fine.
Yep.
I don't
I
think we
do
need it
like
yet,
that
though.
as I like that. Sorry to cut you off. I like that as an alternative though for what Augie was talking about. If there are a lot of people that really don't care for the quests, if you offer the ranked grind, the advancement of levels in the arena as an alternative to achieve the same rewards that someone that's questing in the dungeon crawler, that's a nice compromise, I think, for a lot of people if they know that they can do one or the other. It'd be really sick if it synced or augmented your progress, combined it in some way that it could accelerate it even more as well. That would be pretty cool too.
That's an interesting idea, actually. Like almost have like two different brackets of questing. You have your PV quest that you like what they have already, and then you can have like the arena quest line. And but you
Mhm.
could progress to like the levels of gear in either one, just like whatever one you want to do, and
Mhm.
opt in. That'd be yeah, that's actually not the worst idea ever. I kind of like that. Give me some arena quests.
Yeah.
Kill 1,000 druids. Holy shit!
I like dailies. Like dailies or weeklies for arena where it just augments it. It's not required at all. But
Yeah.
like your first 3 arena wins of the day is like double elo points or something like that. Like climbing toward gladiators. Like people just log in, they do like their 3 arena and they get off if they feel like it.
Cool idea.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Side note:
Tarkov.
quest rewards have to be like minted. It's just so annoying that I
Yeah.
got a bish ring
Yeah.
for a quest reward the other day, and I'm like, it's not minted. I just did this quest, and I can't use this in arena. This is I was so mad.
Yep. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think it should come as looted instead of handled. So you have to run it in the dungeon one time, and if you escape with that item, then it's minted to you.
Oh, I
Sure,
like that.
it's a good idea actually.
Yeah.
That would
Solid,
be
yeah.
so easy for them to do, I would think. But
That's a banger. I'll write that one down.
I think I love the drop rates right now, but I do think, especially now that we can tell that they have like a spigot that they can turn on and off, um, it'd be good like at the start of next wipe to do like a fourth of this. That way you're kind of questing. Only because like I liked watching. I never do arena, but I like watching Ken and them do arena, and it was cool like 5 or 6 weeks ago to watch the progression of them having like dungeon greens to like crafted blues to like dungeon purples to like crafted purples, and like that
Mhm.
part was really cool in the progression of that, and seeing
Mhm.
people go from like like whatever like cobalt to ruby silver to like dark gear to frostlight, like that was fun to see that progression. And so I'm only afraid, I think it would be cool to have this same drop rate at the start of the wipe where like everyone's just like juiced all the time, but also like I don't know, it would be fun to kind of like turn it down at the start of the wipe, which is normally what they do anyway, right? So like they
Yeah, I
just kind
think
of get a
so.
little bit of
Yeah, it does
a
always seem
handle
like
on
that.
it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
like
don't
the
hate that. I
drops are
don't hate
good
that.
though.
Like
Yeah.
it is interesting, like because like the progression is very fun. Because I was literally just going. I haven't played my cleric in like a couple of weeks, and like I just logged into my cleric for the first time yesterday to build an arena kit, and my bank was just full of the most garbage items I've ever seen in my life because I played it at the beginning of the season. I'm like last like 2 weeks ago these items are abyss.
Yep.
Now I'm just fucking vendoring them. They're
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
abyss.
vendoring half my stash. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just so I logged on my warlock today to start the demigod grind, and I sold like 3 full stash tabs of like green to
Mhm.
purple. I'm like, this is all piss now. Like
Yep.
I don't even want to look because like I know most of it is piss, so I like I know the loot's just gonna flow. So like vendor, I finally
Yeah.
have a clean stash.
So with the new loot like being super juicy, it really makes me want them to try an SSF league.
Yes.
I just want a
Yeah.
season. I just want to know marketplace. I love the marketplace. I love the convenience of it. It's nice. But like with like loot being so readily available, it would be interesting if for just one season they just force SSF on the people. It would be so I think it'd be really fun. I think it'd be so
I don't
fun.
even think a whole season. I just think an end of wipe event. Like especially if we're gonna have a longer wipe because of the court case this season, like let everyone know ahead of time on December the 5th, this season is over, the demigod grind is over. We're gonna actually wipe on December the 5th, and we're gonna open up the SSF league from the 5th to like the 17th. And like that's the new 2-week cooldown period is just like an SSF league, and everyone starts fresh. You like run it back, all the quests are open, and then we go to the new wipe on December the 17th, and like we're back. And like that would be really freaking cool.
That'd be
That's-
fun.
It's
Yeah.
not a bad idea.
That'd be better than
that'd be fun.
multi-classing.
Or to
Multiclassing.
to pick some things from that idea. Like how I said, maybe a whole season SSF. But what if like what you said, you know, loot is like weak at the beginning. What if you just started this season with SSF? Like next wipe, new season, first 2 weeks, first 3 weeks, whatever it may be, SSF. And then you have to get all your gear through SSF. And then like, you know, week 4, boom, marketplace is out. Then you give it to play normally. But like they got a sample size SSF. People liked it or they don't like it, but it's not the entire season. Then you just add the marketplace in later into the season, and then you just
Yeah.
like progress normally.
Yeah, that
That's
could
not
work.
bad, especially if the brackets stay, because like the under 25s would be largely unaffected by the SSF, right? Like they can build their gear sets
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
like over, you know, whatever and HR in norms. Kind of like I feel like people already do, right? Like if you run 2 under 25s and you save the gear, like you have a really good HR set after 2 norms runs. Did you guys see I can't remember who he was with. I know it was a Noogie and somebody else did like a
Him and
0 to
Nate.
hero.
Yeah, as Nate
Yeah,
and Nate.
yeah, Popcorn Nate. Yeah, they got they ended up with Death Bloom and like a bunch of good gear after just like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, Fist Abyss.
Yeah,
0 to
Fist
hero to
Abyss.
Death Bloom. That's awesome.
0 to
That's pretty
artifact.
sweet. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
While we're on the
that.
topic of gear, I think we did touch upon this last time, but how do you guys feel about crafted items being in Arena? Since we're talking about SSF, do we feel like Arena should allow crafted items, or should it only be things that are found in Raid?
I guess I'll lead with this. I like it, but I think it could be changed. I like that crafted items in arena because it gives you a sense of, okay, I want to progress through the quest to get these items to do well in the arena. It makes people want to go down to hell to farm that dark matter to make their dark matter chest piece or make their void blade.
But do
It
they
gives
need
people
to? They can just buy all these craftable.
they
I mean,
they
you
could
can,
they could if they have money, but some people don't have 15K to buy
Yeah.
a dark matter.
yeah.
I know I don't. I'm a pretty wealthy man in Dark and Dark. I think I'm not fucking buying dark matter. That shit is expensive. I feel
Yeah,
bad for all
it's
these
nuts.
Longsword players. That poor Augie,
Yeah.
15K
That's why
for
I
a
got
dark
Divine Blade,
matter.
baby.
Yeah, it's like Jesus, dude. It's so sad. That's like
This-
one of the few
this
items
is
that's that expensive.
First
yeah.
season, I haven't found dark matter. I feel like I find 2 or 3 every season. I haven't seen single one yet.
Dude, I
hate
lost mine, Arcade. I
What?
looted it and Skull Throne was there and I was running low on time and I was like, I'm gonna check if there's a skull key. And I just like misplayed my ass off and the mage hit me and like a Nightmare Archer hit me and I
Oh,
died and I
no.
was like, I
Oh.
regret checking for a skull key. Like I had like void matter was like 15,000. I was like, that was so stupid.
Yeah.
I gambled
Gosh.
15K on like a 1% drop chance.
But to finish like the thing about crafting gear, I like that craftable gear is allowed in arena. I think they should limit it though. I think like
Yeah.
maybe 3 to 5 pieces of crafted gear on your set. You should have to go into the dungeon and find some pieces. I think, and that's
fair.
important. I think,
Yeah.
but seeing everybody's 6 out of 6 Frostlight with a Void Blade, Grimmy's Fang of Death. I'm like, bro, you did not pick up a single item that you're wearing in the dungeon. This is 100% crafted. This is ridiculous. Go play the game. What are you doing? I was like, I don't know.
No, yeah, that's fair though. I think so, and it goes back to like so bad strength. There's so much fucking loot now, right? Why do you need all the crafted stuff? Like crafted stuff's okay to be in there, but like, I have crafted Grimmies, I have I have the Ruby Silver Curse, and then Fangs of Death, and I haven't crafted anything better than the random shit I found in Inferno now.
And if you limit it, you have to make a choice then. Like, and I'm
Yep.
always for like being forced to make important choices. Like, okay, I have 3 to 5, I have 5 pieces of crafted gear I could wear. All right, well, I gotta have my Grimmies. I want a Grimmy. My chest piece. All right, a Void Blade. I have the Void Blade. Void Blade is sweet. And I'm getting owned by wizards. I need this Thing of Death, but I guess I can't. I can't get a Centaur's Madness. I guess, or I can't. Craft whatever a Lightbringer. I have to find these items and I don't know. I like having to make choices and making decisions that impact the game. I think something along those lines could do it. And my entire arena set is found in Raid. I have 1 crafted piece, my chest piece, but everything I wear I found in Raid in like the first week. Hasn't even changed.
I'm in the same boat. I have 2. I think I have 2 crafted pieces. I've got the Ruby Silver Cuirass, and my first roll on my Frostlight boots was for knowledge and move speed on them.
Ooh.
So I hit the jackpot on that one. That was nice.
Was it the Lightfoots or the Ruggeds?
The Lightfoots.
Lightfoots, okay.
So there's 17. I think there's 17 move speed with 1 knowledge on them. So I'm running 40 knowledge, I think, and 33 will or something like that on my
That's crazy.
arena
Damn.
kit, which is fun. It is a lot of fun. But I may have had more fun putting together my 124 kit for arena. So regardless of what SDF decides to do with the dungeon crawler, it sounds like one of his goals is to get the queues more full. So we'll talk here in a minute about some of his plans for how map rotation might be affected. This was a big topic of conversation on the Darkest Hour recently. But in addition to squishing gear, I think he's going to try to reduce the amount of queues. That's one of the reasons for wanting to squish the gear, I think. But yeah, shit, I just lost my train of thought too. Where was I going with that? What was I talking about? We were talking
Arena,
about
gear, queues, SDF.
Oh, 124. Yeah. So putting my 124 kit together was fun as hell, and I hope that no matter what he does to the dungeon crawler, he keeps 124. I don't think you need 25 and under in arena. I wouldn't be mad if they did keep it, but in arena, I feel like it would be much cooler just to have 124 and then whatever the hell you want. Maybe you throw one other tier in there, and if it's under 25, so be it. But yeah, putting together my 124 kit has been the most fun for arena for sure. Because now when I find a random really good blue piece, I'm not just immediately trashing it because it's not legendary. Because now, like, that's basically my inventory in every raid now. It's like, if it's not purple or a legendary, it's not sticking around unless it's like perfect for my 124 kit for the arena.
Yeah, I love the 124 like gearing. It's I think it's good for the economy too, because like literally when I'm building a 124 kit, I'll like look up on the marketplace Mystic Vestments with casting speed, and I'll see like purple, legendary, blue. I'm like, they're all really cheap. And then I'll like sort by rarity. I'll go green. I'm like, the green one's 300 gold.
Yeah,
This is ridiculous. I'm getting rinsed. But I'm like, I'm supply and demand. People are playing 124. People like it. I know. I think it's great. And like something about being restricted to a gear score bracket, it like makes you be creative on like how you really optimize a gear set for like that bracket. Like, oh okay, I can get copper light, get 2 rolls of my copper light. I could afford to get 1 or 2 blues. I'll get some demon clads. Those are sweet. But if I get demon clads, I can't get a blue necklace. So I have to go. I'll get like a I don't know. Just like having to make those choices. Like,
yeah.
oh wait, but if I want another blue ring, I'll get a gray spell book maybe. Like, I don't know. I love like having to make those interesting choices to make a cool gear set.
And I love that for arena, but I think the way that SDF is talking about the future of the dungeon crawler experience, I have a feeling that might be going away. And that's one of the other things that's happened since we last chatted. So not only did SDF talk about his vision for the future of the game, he did that very impromptu Q&A in the Discord that was just text only, wasn't on voice or camera or anything. But one of the things he talked about, in addition to some of the map changes and kind of hinting at these gear squishing things as well, was the idea of being able to traverse all 3 floors in the dungeon whenever you want, so that you can go up and down within raid, take your reds whenever you want. Did you guys see that? Have any thoughts about it? Have any thoughts about it?
So can you extrapolate on that? Like I didn't read the Q&A.
Yeah, so the 3-tier dungeon, it sounds like he wants to stick with, at least until he has a chance to try this new mechanic. So when you load into ruins, reds are immediately open. You can go down to crypts. You could immediately go from crypts down to Inferno, and you can traverse back up. So presumably they would have a global raid timer. So instead of having a timer per floor, you would give everyone 25 to 30 minutes to do whatever they want on all 3 floors.
That's actually kind of I when you first started explaining it, I was like, I'm gonna hate this idea. But the more I think about it, it's kind of an interesting idea. It could be a dumpster fire. Don't get me wrong, but I
Mhm.
think like that's not awful because it's just one big map, right?
Yeah.
Essentially,
And
yeah.
I think if you're going to do this, you gotta make sure the time limit's like sufficient. I also think you have to increase the lobby size. I think like 20 people is not
Mm.
enough. I think if you want to
Mhm.
have 3 layers open right away, you have to at least maybe experiment with 30 people like in a raid. Because like you gotta think sure a lot of people are just gonna load in right away and run straight to reds. And then go right down to front. People are gonna be more spread out. So like since people are
Yep.
more spread out, you want more players to at least have player interaction every game. And I think if you're trying to get rid of the number of queues, you could increase lobby size. So I'm just kind of thinking in real time here. But yeah, that's what was just my initial thoughts. I think if you want to do that, it could be really cool. I think I just don't want empty lobbies. If I don't want empty lobbies, you gotta have more players in your game. That's
Mhm.
just my first thoughts. But I'm curious what you guys think.
Augie?
Yeah, man. Do whatever. I'm not gonna lie. Do whatever you fucking want, Iron Mace. Like a lot of people forget this is an EA game from an indie team, and it's only 1 year into actual early access. And half of the goddamn employees don't know how to work with their code, probably still, and they've been hired for 8 months. Like, just
If that.
dude,
If
it's
that.
it's not Tarkov. It's not 7 Days to Die. It's not these games that have been in early access for 12 years, dude. Like, figure out what the hell you want to do with your game. You know, SDF got on and gave me a Q&A probably after 19 hours working. He shotgunned 4 monsters, 4 espresso fucking shots laced with happy powder so he could give us a fucking Q&A in Discord, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's why I still support Iron Mace. Like, I'll yell Iron Mace all goddamn time. Every time something stupid happens to me, I'm gonna blame him. My internet's not working at fucking Iron Mace, dude. But like, just do whatever. I'm here for it. Make the game that you're gonna make. I'm gonna fucking have fun playing it. So I like the idea. It's sweet. A big house. You know what I mean?
Right?
Basement, living room, upstairs, ruins. It's super easy. You go up there to chill. You go and meet everybody living on the damn living room, fucking fighting in the kitchen for the the goods, and then you go to the basement where the party is. Down in Inferno, fighting for the bosses. I like it. So I think it's a cool idea. We're trying.
Oh yeah. The closer they can kind of mimic the best aspects of not necessarily an open world, but just I guess an MMO in general. Like it may have been Darkest Hour was mentioning like, oh, it was Jay. Yeah, Jay was like, could you imagine if Blizzard basically said, we're gonna make Diablo, but we're gonna make it first person and we're gonna make it a lot like Dark and Darker, but we're gonna make it in the Diablo universe. Could you imagine how many people would be playing the shit out of that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds great actually. Holy crap.
Yep.
Don't let Blizzard hear you.
Don't
Okay?
know.
Yeah, take it easy.
Hey, Jay already did it. I'm just repeating
It's
what he
over.
said.
God damn it, Jay.
Blame Jay. Yeah.
I don't know if I like the idea of like you said you can traverse between all layers right away.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I like it to be more like a Tarkov thing because Tarkov kind of already solved that issue a little bit with like the marathoning now, and then I would rather you have a drop in the game, like keys to the crypts, let's say, or keys to Inferno, and then there's a way to queue for like Inferno only, and you have to have like a special key or something, and like it only comes up like once an hour. So like let's say I get out of like the 30 minutes, like I go Ruins, Crypts, Inferno, and I fight Warlord, and on a small drop chance, he drops like a fucking really cool looking key, and it's like the key to Inferno. It's like a demon key. It's a DK, and now that sells for like 100K or whatever, and it lets like a couple people, like 4 people, queue for Inferno, and you just go straight in there and you're just bossing, or like whatever fair market value is, it's set right. And so now you have like your streamers and specific teams that are only using demon keys, and they're just trying to like cycle into Inferno and like fight each other. Or an idea that I talked about it on the subreddit was have it so like you have a crypt key, or you can drop from like any sub boss on like a 5% chance or whatever, and you can run to a red gate and open it at like the start of the match, let's say, or whenever, and then it's marked on the map as open, and anybody else in your match can now run down into crypts with you. And so like with one player has the key and they open it, like everyone else knows that it's open, and then everyone can go to crypt.
I like that idea better than your first one. Like,
Yeah,
Yes,
like
me
the
too.
idea of like I don't like the idea that the whole map is open because then like your like max move speed players are just gonna run to Crypts and they're just gonna run to Inferno. They're gonna go boss. Like I can kill Ghost King in like 2 minutes. So like I just feel like it would
yeah,
feel bad to
but
like get down to Inferno
Hmm.
or like you have weird spawns and like the boss is
Yeah,
dead
that's
already
fair.
and you're like
they could kill the boss, right? But they can't extract. They're somewhere. They're in the pile.
Right,
You can
right.
find them. You can still kill them. Like,
I guess that's true. I don't know,
Yeah.
dude. That
I think
sounds
it's
really
interesting.
weird to me. Like
Yes.
it's interesting and like I guess you could cook with that, but I don't know, like, that seems really weird to, like, run down, kill the boss in, like, the first 2 minutes of the whole map, and now you have, like, a artifact, and you just go, like, hide in a corner or some shit, or,
I
like, you
kind of
run
like the
back up
idea.
to, like, ruins, like, I don't know, that seems weird.
If they do this right, I think it should announce to the entire. There should be a sound or something when the boss is engaged. Even if you're on ruins, like, okay, someone's doing the boss.
Oh,
Like,
that'd be cool.
I
Yeah, like
want to
a
know. Yeah.
Bum
okay.
rush. Yeah.
Yeah, like a toll or something, like a bell
Yeah.
tolling would be kinda
It's
cool.
a cool idea. Yeah.
Yep. Well, the other thing that I think would help with this is them fulfilling. I can't remember if it was Terrence or SDF said this very early on. Said that that Inferno was not actually the home of the Lich and the Ghost King. So if they move Lich and Ghost King up to Crypts and put it in that center Coliseum room, or find another location for it when.
Oh, the Colosseum would be a really good spot for those,
Mhm.
actually.
Yep.
You take out
And
that tower, and now it's just like a boss
Boss
circle.
room.
yeah,
Yeah, that
That's
actually
a
would be
cool
really
ass idea.
cool.
that
Yeah.
would work well. You could do it with the vault too, like the current iteration of
Yeah,
the
I saw
vault
that
would
with
be
Vault.
fine.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you have then Ruins has Banshee, which we haven't talked about yet, we should. Banshee, Spectral Knight on Ruins. You've got Lich, at least Lich or GK on Crypts, and then you've got Warlord and whatever new sexy boss they add down there. At least one other one should be in rotation. When you've got 6 potential bosses in play, and if you expand the amount of teams on the map, I think there's going to be plenty to do in a 25 to 30 minute raid, regardless of how easily you can traverse those layers.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually like that a lot, especially if they add a boss on B2, where it's like every layer has some kind of chase, boss to go fight for. I think you would probably have to maybe buff the loot on the bosses in the top level. Maybe it's a little bit to make them comparable, or at least maybe like the double boss room on ruins, just make juice that one up a little bit.
Mm.
But I think like that's actually I didn't even think about that. It's really interesting actually. Because now you have all
Getting
these teams fighting over different bosses, like different play
yeah.
styles. Like, oh man,
That'd be
I'm a
sweet.
wizard. I suck at warlord, but like I'm pretty good at killing like whatever boss. You go target that boss. Like, oh, I'm the fighter player. I'm good at killing the skeleton, the guy in ruin. What's his name again? The new guy.
Spectral Knight.
Spectral
Spectrum
Knight.
Knight.
Yeah. Like Longsword's great for that, but man, I fucking suck at Banshee. I'm gonna stay away from Banshee. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like that. I mean, the game would feel the 3 dungeon system would feel a lot more enjoyable if there was a boss on Crypts, I think.
Yep.
A lot more people would be, not just scrumming or grabbing gear and leaving if they could just go down and fight one of the bosses one more floor down. You know what I mean? Like even playing in bullshit, under 25s and you're in ruins, everybody fights, everyone dies, and I don't think I played one out of like 16 where I didn't fight another team in Crypts. Actually, like in that, someone always sneaks down there and you always find them. So like having more people want to go down there instead of like try and get out with gear if they get gear or something in ruins, it would vastly incentivize that. Way more people would go to Crypts immediately if they could, and they'd be a little more hesitant to just I got some gear I can leave, but like the Lich is right fucking there. I could go fight Lich real quick. Let's go fight Lich real quick.
Right.
I think it'd be sweet. So
Yeah, and I
change the
think
game
you
in
could
a better way.
piggyback. You could piggyback Josh's idea or Tarkov's idea, I guess, of finding certain items in game to handle the expressman issue, because when you introduce this mechanic, you can't just have the expressman be unlimited every time you traverse levels, right? But you might want it so that everyone gets 1 use by default or 2 uses by default, and then you find an item that allows you to bring them back maybe a 3rd time. So you turn in some kind of ticket or MacGuffin for that.
It's not bad, yeah, actually. I like that. Yeah, I didn't even think about Expressman. But yeah, just like 1 use would be good. I think more than one is more than enough. I think. So right now, when I'm playing, I'm using my expressing is full every single
Yep.
raid. It's
Oh,
crazy.
now. Yep.
Like I'm getting 2,000 gold worth of sellables every raid if
Yep.
I'm trying. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
And not even if I don't kill a team. But yeah. But you
100%.
want to touch on Banshee? I don't know. I haven't done Banshee too much, so I'm not sure what expertise we have. But
You go.
that
I
has
have very limited. I've watched it way more than I've done it.
so I've done Banshee a little bit on release day. Me and Jay killed it, I think probably 5 or 6 times and died probably 20, maybe more than 20. But just to kind of touch on the new Banshee boss, I think it's really cool. I think it's a super cool fight. I feel like every time they make a new boss in this game, it's better than the last one. Like
Yep.
they are going full Dark Souls, and I can only imagine where it's going to be a year from now when they have another 10 bosses in. But if they keep making cool, fun fights like Banshee, I'm excited. And I'm like the guy who fucking hates killing bosses because I'll play Wizard and it sucks. But like the fight is cool. My only gripe with the fight is there's a big part of the Banshee fight is being able to hear.
Yep.
When she goes invisible and she charges you. But then there's another part of the Banshee fight where you have to collect souls to not die to her scream. And as you collect souls,
You're
it
deafened.
lowers your ability to hear,
Yeah.
which sometimes means you just get bad RNG and you die to her charge, which that's a little frustrating. That's like my only gripe. I think the rest of the fight's super fun, super interesting, and I just want more of it. That being said, I rarely kill it because it's on level 1 and there's 20 teams trying to kill me every time I try. But I feel like if we have the 3-tier system like we were talking about, and raids are 30 minutes long, we could be 20 minutes into a game. I could go back up to ruins and be like, oh, no one killed Banshee. I think we cleared most of the lobby. I think we could do this pretty risk-free and go for it. Like I think you'll see a lot more boss killing if we had that 3-layer system that we were talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, now that you guys are saying that, I kind of don't mind that. Like, that actually kind of would be cool, especially as somebody who likes to like clear. I released like a lot of loot guides for crypts and ruins, where I'm like kind of honed in on moving between the skeleton champions. And like it would be kind of cool to just sort of skip ruins, especially with all the spawn rushing that happens and like the sort of battle royale like vibe that I feel like ruins gives. Be like, I'm just gonna go straight to the crypts. I'm gonna run like some skeleton champions, and then in like 10 minutes, I'll go back up to ruins. And then I kind of like that idea. That is a bit more like Tarkov, where you're like, well, now this is probably not going to be populated. But I don't know, like going back, you guys had a lot of criticisms of ruins. I actually love that map. It's the new battle map. Like I used to play goblins almost exclusively because you would get PvP in the first 2 or 3 minutes. You would like rush quad elevator, tons of fights there. And now I feel like ruins is like the new battle map. Like now ruins, like within the first minute, I'm almost always in my first fight. And then you get like 5 or 6 players in a single module. And I like that part of ruins. I think it's really awesome. Like it's the new spawn rush map, it's the new battle map, and like I love it. So I'm okay to try a new system, but
I mean, I agree. It is definitely the new battle map, and I do like that aspect of it. And like Ruins is great. I'll have a lot of fun when I play Ruins, and then I run into a Druid, and then I'm like, okay, I hate this map again. Or I run into double number. Oh, I hate this map again. Okay, I remember why I hate this map. And like I said, maybe it isn't a map issue. Maybe it is just like the classes making the map feel bad for me. But I still prefer Goblin Caves. If the Goblin Caves is still my battle map. If I want to fight, I'm going on the caves, personally.
Yeah. Real quick to tie a bow on Banshee, it's funny. Repose said the exact same thing that you did. That Iron Mace is getting better with each new boss release. Like the Wyvern that came out, it was like, oh shit, they really upped their game. Because, I mean, let's face it, Cyclops. Like for the uninitiated here, for folks that just started playing the game, back in the day when it was playtest time, there was Lich and there was Ghost King. And it was Inferno, and that was it. And then the next thing, once Goblin Caves came out, we got the Troll. And that was really cool the way they did that, because they did that whole scavenger hunt where someone had to go to New York City and look under a park bench to like decode some riddle. That was cool. So cool. That was such a cool idea. So we got Troll next. Troll, looking back on it now, is like, oh God, the boss it's not great. So after Troll, we get Warlord. And the difficulty, it was like everyone freaked out at the level of difficulty. I'm sure
Fuck,
there's
that
still
boss was so hard. Holy shit.
there's still probably, I would wager 70% of the players in the game that haven't killed Warlord. They just go down there, take one look at him, and
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
There's so many people.
But I would argue, even though it is a better, I think Warlord is a better, cooler fight than the previous ones. I don't feel like they had really leveled up a lot. Then they put out Cyclops, and it's like, okay, well, he's kind of super easy to kill. And you could tell he was another Unreal Marketplace asset purchase as well, right? And then the paradigm shift happens with the Wyvern. Everyone's like, holy shit, that is a boss fight. That's some good stuff. And then they outdo themselves again with Spectral Knight and outdo themselves again with Banshee. So 100% agree. Repose, I haven't heard a single person say anything different. They are on the right path for crafting these boss fights, man. Like it is really cool to see.
And I agree with Augie a lot in the fact that like we're only like a year in. Like having been part of Tarkov and Cycle Frontier, those games took like a long time to add a small amount of content, and a lot of the times that content was like questionable. Whereas Dark and Darker is like consistently amazing, and Spectral Knight, I definitely feel like Spectral Knight is like next level. Every time I go in that room, I'm like, holy fuck, like what am I? It's like watching Distortion play Dark Souls. I'm like, I still haven't learned to fight him. I still haven't soloed him, and like maybe eventually he'll become easier. But Banshee, I like Banshee. Banshee feels like a Destiny raid to me, like a Destiny boss rather than like necessarily an upgrade. Banshee's cool, but she was also really easy. Like I beat her after like a 15-hour stream with one peg and end boss in like the first hour of trying. Like she really wasn't like spectacularly different. Whereas I've still never done Dragon either. Dragon is like a whole ass thing. I feel like Warlord is a whole ass thing, but like we are realistically just a year in, and they are getting faster and better at so many things. And hopefully, with this court case on the 24th, like I just fucking pray that this court case is just wrapped up, and SDF can like take a nap for like 3 or 4 days, and then dive into
Instead of shotgunning
Sorcerer.
monsters.
Yeah, I want to see like a Discord announcement and be like, all right, we finally beat Nexon after like 3 years. Like these pieces of shit have really been all over us, and we finally beat them. And we're gonna hone in, like, so we're gonna have an arena season, like next season. We're gonna do like SSF, like all the things you guys have been talking about. We're gonna dive in, just like stick with us. I think that's gonna be perfect. But overall, the loot changes. Like I've seen, there's like 25,000 players in the dungeon today. I think the loot change is definitely
the
like
player
a step
numbers
forward.
jumped.
Yeah, like it's just
100%,
fun,
dude.
even for like at the high end. Like I would do the crit bosses over and over all day. I'd have like 10 crit bosses killed, and I would see like 1 or 2 legendaries. And every time it hurt my soul, I'm like, cool, it's 3 dog shit purples, like a fucking again. And now it's like I get a lot of Legos, I get a couple uniques, and like even if they're not good, at least I'm like, you know, it was a couple uniques, like that's nice.
Even if it's a dog shit unique, you're like, it's a cool color.
It's
Like,
unique, yeah. Like
hey
it's
man,
the
unique
difference
old
is
shoes.
there.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
And then I'm, you know, you're searching through the modifiers. You're like, please move speed, please move speed. But like, it is nice.
But yeah,
100% agree. So a couple other
On the way
random
up.
things before we turn it over to Q&A here. We're already 90 minutes in here. It's been flying by. Bolas were mentioned.
Yeah.
We've talked about that in the past. Josh, what are your thoughts on Bolas for Barbarian? He did not mention Cleric, but I suspect Cleric would get the option to use Bolas as well.
Bro, fuck barbarians, man. They don't have the intelligence to use Ebola. All right, they have Francisca's. It's good enough. Don't give them a ranged weapon. I think Bola should go almost exclusively to cleric, and then maybe you can give it to warlocks. I don't really know why they would use it, but like, sure.
Yeah, because warlocks are really underpowered. That's probably good.
Yeah, well, okay, so cleric and like maybe a rogue can have like a slingshot. Like I think that's a cool idea. Clerics definitely need it. Poor clerics are just like never really around in solos, and if they are, like they have to be expensive. They have to build move speed, else they can't compete. Spell clerics are kind of dog shit. I think it'll be a really cool change to see bolas. Very hopeful for cleric. Cleric hasn't been like solo meta almost ever, except when Divine Protection came out because it was so strong that they were unkillable.
Yeah.
And the
Remember
audio
when
cue,
DP
the audio
first
cue was
came
the
out?
same. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, the exact same. And you're like, I don't know what they're using. I'm dead. But
Yeah.
I remember when it first came out, I played Goblin Caves almost exclusively, and it used to be if a barbarian came down the ramp into the treasure vault after Troll or Cyclops, you were like, I'm dead. It's a barbarian. And then
Yep.
after that, you're like, oh god, it's a cleric. Like, holy get me out of here.
Cornered against a cleric.
Cornered
Yeah.
against a cleric. Yeah, that was insane. And then they finally like balanced it out, and like it's still strong, but
God, I had so much fun.
Yep.
Just killing clerics, dude. It's so fun. I loved it. Sorry, boys. It was so fun.
Yeah, Augie's just happy to get somebody who's melee fighting.
Oh
Like,
my
I don't
God,
care.
man, it's
As
so
long
much
as-
fun.
And no spell book, I'm in there. Let's go.
Yeah, let's fucking go, dude. I love wizards pull out magic missiles on me. I'm like, finally,
Yeah.
I can kill you. Thank you. Stop zapping me. God, stop zapping.
You can't repost a zap, right? You can't.
Can't
You-
repulse a zap.
you
No,
can
it
block
doesn't
it there.
trigger. You can block it. Yeah, you can block hit scans. It doesn't happen very often.
I've been blocking zaps with the quarterstaff like crazy in arena.
Yeah, quarterstaff has
Jeez.
an increased hitbox,
It's huge.
just like Bardish does.
It's a Pavis.
It's almost
Wait,
three
what? Was it
times the
Shadow Buff?
size. So, dude, no, it's
It's always
the
been
way
this
the
way.
quarterstaff is.
Mm.
Yeah, it's literally it'll block literally almost 3 times what the visual indicator is for the
Oh
quarterstaff.
my god.
Same with the Bardish, up and down around it.
I am blocking. I've blocked so much. I'm blocking ice bolt. I'm
Yeah.
blocking zaps. I'm blocking
Mhm.
a cleric cannot kill me. Like with a
It's so
morning
fucking
star.
good.
It's
The
ridiculous.
Bardish is so fucking good too.
Yeah,
at
same
it.
thing,
You
yeah.
like the amount of arrows you can block, and arrows are a tiny projectile too, right? The
mhm.
amount of arrows you can block with the Bardish is wild.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You just like people, you just bait them into shooting your head, and you just hold it up slightly, and it blocks it.
And like you're just talking about this, basically, like you're the longsword guy, right? So I really wish this like melee had more things like that. I just
Yeah.
want skill expression
Yep.
in melee. Like, and whenever I see someone use the longsword and they do a cool move, I'm like, yeah, they're having such a good time. And when I get my quarterstaff blocks, I'm like, oh, this is so great. And then I just sit there and I'm just feeling bad for these rogue players that they just don't have any skill expression. They just
Mhm.
stab you. Okay, either I killed you or you killed me, and there's nothing they could have done about it. I'm like, oh, that's so boring, bro.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
don't give rogues anything, please, fucking god. I've been on rogue nonstop the last week. It is the strongest fucking class in this game.
Strong,
It's so
stronger
fools.
weak, stronger weak. That's not like the conversation is. They
It wants to be expressive and fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you are strong, it should be skill expressive, and when you're weak, it's because you should have made a misplay. Like
So you're
right
saying
now,
give them like parrying daggers, and then
Yeah,
now
sure.
they're like doing like this, and they disarm you for like 3
sure,
seconds.
sure, but then when they have
Alright.
strength in that direction, and then you can bring down their stats in another direction. You know,
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
that's never how it works.
I know, but like I live in my fantasy world.
Look, Ken's like, look, you give them this or that, you dial it here or there. It's more like, okay, they have parrying daggers. It's an 18-second disarm. Everyone's dead.
And it locks you in place.
All right, fine. Maybe Rogue's a bad example, but I'm just saying melee in general. It feels very bland.
I talk,
Yeah.
Ken, I talk about it all the time, dude. Like
Yeah.
all the blocking weapons should have something. Bardish did in playtest 1, I think. Actually, I didn't. I played Ranger in playtest 1 and 2. So, but like Bardish should have, you block, you do one chop, leads into your left click combo. Quarterstaff, you block, it has a 1-2 hit combo, just like Longsword. Spear, you block, it has a spear butt. It does the shield giant knockback effect, rings your bell and knocks you back.
Sure, that'd be all cool.
You know what I mean? Just anything like that. Just we already have blocking weapons. Let's put them to use at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I want
Because
I
like
want
it
alternate
is so
swings,
much
too.
fun.
Yeah, just like alternate
Yeah.
swing patterns would be great. Like I was playing Halberd the other day, and I'm like, it's nice. I could just hit right click and have a different angle.
Mm.
And I'm like, man, I wish other weapons had this, and they just don't. And I'm like, this it's supposed to be so depressing if you're just like a melee player. These poor barbarians. Like, sure, they're winning every fight, but man, they are bored. They are bored. I don't know.
So with bolas, one of the first things that came to my mind was for barbarians, would it make sense for bolas and for potential other utility items, and maybe even carry it over into weapons, that there is a stat requirement? So as far as I know, I haven't checked this in a while, but like barbarians still need to hit 15 knowledge to use a invis pot, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
that
they have
still
to
a
have
thing?
swaps. Mm-hmm.
What do you guys feel? How do you feel about, for something like bolas, you need a minimum of 15 decks or a minimum of 17 decks
Well,
for a
it's hard
utility
because
item like that?
like everyone has decks, so like it'd have to be something else.
Yeah.
I feel like a
Clerics
perk.
don't.
It
like
ended
a
up being a
perk-
resourcefulness thing, I bet. So
Yeah, like I think a perk swap is like one of the best ways to get anything
Mm,
to be useful
Mm.
because then you sort of have to give
Yeah.
something up to get it.
that's a
And
good point.
like barbarians take crush a lot, and like crush isn't really like a necessity in many situations. It's just a way to like kind of pressure things. Like I think make them take like bola specialist or like tribal throw, like something weird, and then they can use the bola. And then especially if they have if Achilles works on bola, right, and they're just like chasing you, fucking throwing stones
Oh,
at you,
God.
and you're slowed, like dude, it just sounds so toxic. But if you make it have a perk, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, boa slowing sounds like. Hopefully they don't slow. If they slow, oh,
They're gonna slow.
gross.
They're
No,
gonna slow.
stop.
Get out of here. They're gonna
Stop it,
slow. They're gonna
bro.
deal damage and slow, brother. Come on, man.
How about a
I
net?
know it.
A new skill, they could throw a net on
Oh,
you.
dude,
Yes.
The gladiator net.
The
Yeah.
last Oasis.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hmm.
What about hole in the ground? Cleric gets hole in the ground. Just trap player in ground. Could do that.
Wait a minute. Wait a
You know what
minute.
I've been enjoying lately is I've been taking the traps and locks perk on the rogue, and then I see traps, so there's a stupid ranger somewhere nearby. I just kill him and then I become him, and I
Wait
just
for
sit there
someone to
and I
step on his
wait.
trap.
Yeah, I wait.
You
for someone
use
to
his
step on the
traps?
trap, and then it's always a free kill, and like no one expects it either. Like when you see a rogue, you're like, I'm just gonna chase this. I'm like, like, oh, what was really funny is a spider was chasing me and it stepped on the trap, and the trap becomes like really really tiny to compensate for the spider size. So if you have traps and locks, like you see him in like this little tiny trap. It reminded me of when that tiny shop guy
The
had like the
tiny
little
shop,
items
yeah,
on the
Ace
rack.
Yeah, when you could
Vengeance,
drop
oh,
items as
those
a rat.
videos were great. Yep.
That shit was great.
All right, did
Man,
we
wow,
cover
wait.
it all, fellas?
Can we
What
talk
do we
about how we
miss?
went? We had 2 hours though before we even talked about traps. That's like a record for us.
It
Mhm.
is.
Can we just
Yep.
go through like top
Not
top
only
3
that,
annoyances?
but you were advocating for rogues. Like you said something to help out rogues. So two things
Dude,
have happened.
everybody deserves skill expression. Okay,
All
regardless
right.
if I think your class is bullshit and I hate everything about you, Repose. But you should have fun playing your video game.
That's fair. Very fair. Did you have something else to add to that, Ken, other than the trap part?
No, I just realized we went 2 hours without talking about it. That's crazy. That's like an actual first. But I mean, since we're on the subject, dude, how do you feel about traps, Ogie? Do you
Yeah, I
like
hate
traps?
man.
Okay, that's what.
I
Who
hate
doesn't?
traps.
Who
A great
doesn't?
trap has 8 seconds. 8 seconds base. It's a great grace 8 seconds. Hard
Yeah.
CC. What's the next best hard CC in the game?
Fine.
Just run
Fine.
breakthrough. Just run
Fine.
breakthrough, man. Give up one of your
0.75.
2 skills. The 2 skills that you have. Of course, you
0.75.
should run breakthrough.
Yeah,
just to
I'll
deal with
run.
these-
That's true. I
just
don't
to
mind
run-
breakthrough, but I ain't running that jank. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna run sprint second win like a fucking fighter degenerate and send it. And then occasionally I'll run adrenaline rush and I'll die and be like, all right, I'll go back second win. Fuck it.
Yeah.
So you got me. But no, I mean I ran sprint breakthrough when during the cleric nonsense because it would always be 2 fuck clerics. And one of them's got earthquake, and guess what? I ain't stopping, motherfucker. We going to Thunderdome. Let's go. We're sending it. I'm coming. But no, I hate traps too. It's dumb. Very unengaging, unrewarding gameplay. Like that's my like. I hate longsword riposte damage, and I'm one of the few longsword guys that hates it. It's super fucking unrewarding to play into, and I hate unrewarding aspects in the game. I hate traps. I hate druid movement. I hate stupid shit like that, right? Stuff that's unrewarding to play into that you feel like, oh, this was bullshit. I missed and played around this guy's parry 7 different hits, and I accidentally dragged to the left slightly, and he kills me. It's kind of fucking bullshit.
It's too much.
It's kind of bullshit, dude. End of story. Lower it. Lower the damage. It's 1.878675. It's wild, dude.
Yeah.
It's almost double the damage. It's and it doesn't have a sour spot.
You just
doesn't
look
have a sour
down.
spot.
And a scaled headshot multiplier.
Decoy.
And
Yeah, just look
Yep.
down.
And
You dodge
literally with shield mastery and counter strike, guess what? They're both active during the riposte. If you parry someone, you
yeah.
will have more move speed than if you have your fists out. So you
Yep.
can actually chase people down with those. It's not easy to build around those properly all the time, but when you can, you will catch everything.
Yep.
I'd like to see them rework it. Give a little more value in the left click. Speed the left click up. First thrust, a little quicker. Lower the repose damage, though, 165, something. It's significant. That kind of nerf is pretty significant damage-wise. It makes it more rewarding to play into and makes less of a cheesy crutch preparing. So,
yeah,
I would love to see that. I hate unrewarding things. Like, that's what traps are. Right? Traps are unrewarding. It's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
So,
I always call those feel bad moments. Step in a trap feels bad.
Yeah,
Get hit
done.
one shot by a
I'm
bear
getting
feels
off.
bad. Yeah, dude,
this is bullshit.
every time I step in a trap and die, I'm like, man, I want to log off. Sadly, I do this for a living. I can't. But if I didn't, I would log off now.
Yep. Yep. I think a bunch of us have hit a trap and been like, I'm gonna raid someone now. Like that's the end of my stream.
I do all the time. I step in a trap, I raid somebody, I go get a stack, I get on 30 minutes later. then I step in another trap and I do it again. I'm like, I fucking hate this.
No joke, the last couple days playing Rogue with traps and locks and cutthroat, I'm like, okay, I'm anti-druid and I'm anti-trap. I'm able to have fun and I have like almost very rarely like any bad moments. And so when I hit Demigod today and I was like, what class should I play? And I'm like, wait, it doesn't matter because every other class in this game when it hits a trap is dead. Like it's fucking frustrating, man. Like you're not allowed to wear good kits in solos because if you hit that trap, you're dead.
All right, well, we got that out of the way. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, so nerf druid mobility, remove traps, and remove invisibility. Everyone's on board with this. Better game, less anti-counter play.
Also, I love how much traction the "just look down" meme is getting. It's perfect. Holy shit!
I'm telling you, if they don't if Thursday doesn't have a trap hotfix, I'm doing volume 2. I'm not kidding.
We have to. I mean, we have to.
I'm not gonna lie. I hope they don't fix it.
Going until
see.
All I'm saying is, for volume 2, you should tap me in so bad. I'll get in there. We'll cover
duos or trios.
Duos into trios.
Holy shit!
It'll be all right.
Wait, take out full 3-mans as a duo. Wait a minute.
There you go. Now you're.
I mean, think about with 3 rangers, we could have like 60 traps down.
Dude, yesterday in HR, it was as on ruins on the bridge, right? And now these rangers they're just covering the bridge and traps, and they're sitting in tower, and they're waiting for the audio cue for the trap, and then they just hop off the tower in this windless view for a true shot from a mile away, and we were chasing a team. And on the bridge, and I got on the bridge, and I just saw 5 bodies on bridge. I'm like, what happened here? What happened? And we fight this other team, we kill them eventually, and then I step in a trap, and then I just hear true shot, and luckily the guy missed. And I'm like, oh, that's what happened. 5 people just died to these rangers. There was so much loot. We ended up getting everything, but I'm like, holy shit, 5 people logged out for sure, because that is awful. It's disgusting. It's
that
so
sound
gross.
is snap.
Oh man, I love windlasses though. Like I every ranger I see never uses it. I see like 1 in 10 rangers using a windlass for some reason, and I'm like, I'm trolling my fighter build just so I can have one on me.
It's so good.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun, dude.
It's
the
insane.
collateral kills, dude. I get
man.
it hypes me up for a whole month every time it happens.
Yeah.
So,
I will say the traps thing, it was actually pretty like amusing and fun. And at the first part of that video where the 2 dudes, like I killed the guy at the red and the other guy drops down, steps in the red. A third guy dropped down and stepped in another trap at the red. But I hit him with like 5 spear hits and he lived and he went down. So I didn't include that one. But like I did like the third guy hitting it in the same spot, it was just like no fucking way. It's like a spider web. And I'm like, ooh, like my little webs are vibrating. All right, gents, it has been a freaking pleasure. Thank you for joining us, man.
Hold on, you're jumping the shark here. Hold on a quick second. We cannot possibly. Well, I do want to give a quick Q&A session, very quick.
Okay.
But we cannot possibly let this go to Q&A without Ken talking about the magic resistance changes to the mobs.
Oh yeah.
Like, this has got to be.
Yeah.
This has got to be one of the most significant things PvE wise that's happened since I don't know when.
It's very funny you say that because like normally I'd be like, this is amazing, but it's just very poor sequence of events that I've recently transitioned into being a quarterstaff snob. So I don't even have a crystal sword anymore. So I'm not even like getting the benefit of this buff for the most part. Because I'm using the quarterstaff so often. But I have done some sorting. I have been shooting mobs and missiles, and it does feel good. Like you could before. Even in arena, I've noticed in arena, like after we say you wipe a team in arena, you have that extra 10 seconds, and I could just fireball a couple of mobs, and they'll die. As before, you would fireball these mobs, and they would not die. I could fireball a zombie 4 times, and they would never die. And I didn't even know mobs had base 25% or base 5% magic resist for the longest time. I don't read the wiki. I can't read.
Yeah, dude.
I just thought I was weak.
It would have been the easiest fix for so fucking long, dude, and they just wouldn't do it. Just wild. Just make the change.
It's super quality of life. I've noticed it. It definitely. I noticed it more playing Warlock. I played some Warlock yesterday, and like just cursing mobs and like bolting them a few times. Like they're just dying to like curse 2 bolts. That's nice. That is nice. I don't have to like melee them 6 times. It's just super quality of life. I know a lot of Wizard players are happy that they could just traverse the dungeon and kill mobs. Crazy. Like be able to kill them. That's awesome. Who would have thought? But yeah, it is just obviously a W.
Big W. Really good. Yeah, I definitely notice it even when Sanctuary, and if I'm in a tight spot and I got to jump on top of a box because there's 30 nightmare spider mummies chasing me in the spider room in Inferno, just one Sanctuary will take them out, whereas before it was like nothing.
I can even spin the view. I can spin this and I could turn this into a negative for Wizard. Okay, so this is actually this is a nerf to Wizard in PvP, because when you chain lightning a mob and they die, it doesn't chain.
It doesn't bounce.
It does not bounce. So there actually has been a lot of occasions where I go to chain a mob and it gets evaporated and I don't get the chain. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm nerfed again, god damn it. But it's a small thing. It's a small thing.
That's interesting.
Yep. All right, Q&A. I know Josh wants to get back in the dungeon. What do we got over
here? I
here?
love the dungeon, man, and I love runes, and I love solo HR. I know.
I love runes too, dude. I love runes.
Solo HR though is such a fucking beast lately. Like it's insane. It's legitimately a battle royale, and I'm not even mad sometimes. Like I get 3rd, 4th, 5th partied, and I die, and I'm just like, that was insane. Like holy, like I couldn't have played any better. I have no notes. Like there's just player after player after player, and like I like that. I really want to try with this kind of loot drops and like an extended drop. I want to try more people in the dungeon again. Because back when we started, it was like pretty frequently 24, and there were issues with that. But if you increase the drops even like a little bit more, or have like some sort of special event, like maybe on Saturdays and Sundays, it's like I really feel like we have 20x loot compared to the past. Like what would you guys rate it at on a scale? Because like before, I might never see a legendary in HR, and now I can have like up to 10. Like I feel like it's like legit like 20 times the drop ratio, especially for norms.
It feels that way. I would agree.
I feel like maybe once a month you like even make it like 1.5x this. So like you have like 30x drops, and then you have like a bit more players on the map. Like I just feel like that'd be so fun. But I'm a battle royale player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little things that are
20x
nice.
weekend.
Well, I always say, I remember like back during, I think it was Playtest 3, where there was like a bug. There was a bug where the lobbies were filling over cap. And like I got like 35 out of 24 in my lobby a couple of times.
Yeah, dude.
And like that, it was sick. I mean, it was a chaos, and but like I was like, man, I just love player interaction. So
dude, I VoIP a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't do the bosses for shit anymore. Like I haven't done the bosses for months until this recent, week and a half. I get in and I go chase down. I'm a murder hobo. I go fight everybody I can. Doesn't matter what queue, what lobby. I will speed run through 8 mobs, 3 modules. I will find you and I will
yell you,
and we will fight, and I will die and yell your mace, or you will die and go to Reddit and complain about Longsword. You know what I mean? So like there's no 2 other ways. The street goes this way or that way. So
yep. All right.
Q&A chat. You guys have any questions? Lay them on us.
Here, I got one here.
Thoughts on Chris? Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Okay. So, would you take on the no pants, no shirt meta? Do you think it should be more punishing to like unequip your gear, like mid fight? I guess I'll start. I think I hate it actually. Nothing. I think if you want to equip a piece of gear, change a weapon, change a chest piece, you should have to stand still while equipping it. You should not get a move speed bonus while chasing somebody when you're chaining your shirt. I think it's very frustrating. It eliminates, like, you get to be a full heavy 65% PDR fighter, but if you just take off a chest piece, you're running at 320 and chasing me down. Dude. Yeah, I don't like that. I think it's not good.
Do it all the time, dude. Yeah,
I agree. I'm
totally
agree. What about you, Josh?
End of story, dude.
What about Josh thinks? Because actually, this is like more of a problem in solos, I think, too, specifically.
Yeah, like sometimes I feel like if you don't have a piece of armor in that slot, it should be a headshot damage if you get hit there. Like if you have no chest armor on, it's 150% damage if you get hit in the chest. But at the same time, like I had a really great fight with a barbarian today, back and forth, multiple resets. And he finally took his chest piece off, and I turned and I erased him. I like fucking dismantled him because the barbarian chest piece is like the northern full tunic now is like 70 or 80 armor. It's got like 4 or 5 stat lines. And I beat him, and I was like, you shouldn't have taken your chest piece off. Like that you fucked up, because before I think you would have beat me in a straight fight. And it's like there's ways to capitalize on it. But when you're down, if they've hit you with like 1 or 2 bow shots and then they strip because they know they're up fucking huge, that does feel bad. And so yeah, I think overall, kind of like right now where they just changed like the win last meta and like the double triple crossbow meta where it takes like 3 seconds to equip that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It should take way longer to take armor off. Like you can't just like take a fucking dark queer ass off in like 2 or 3, like I don't even know. It's not even 2 or 3 seconds, right? It's like half a second and your armor's off, like boom. And especially with bunny hopping, you jump, take your armor off, you have like no cooldown.
Zero
You're like
penalty.
5% faster and you're on them. Yeah, it's kind of bullshit. I'm okay with changing it. And coming from, I played Albion. It's another full loot PvP, PvPvE game. If you in that game, if you take a piece of armor off or swap it out, all of your shit goes into cooldown for like 10 seconds. I think that would be fair. If
Ooh.
you change equipment or move a piece of armor, your Q and your E goes on cooldown for 10 seconds. I feel like that would be just super fair. Because then if you hear them take it off, you're like, okay, they're fucked. And you turn and you fight.
Yo,
So
he took
I
off
don't know.
shirt. No Savage War. I could fight or
No
no
Savage
sprint.
Roar, like
Yeah.
no rage. Like I
Mhm.
don't know. It's like a thing. And
Ooh.
also I
It's a
bring
cool
a lot
idea.
of swaps, so like maybe you get punished for swapping. Because right now there's not really like a lot of punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I swap all the time too. Like when I run weapon mastery because I like the win list, like I said, and I got a pocket longbow every time or a recurve bow. So
Yep.
in arena and anywhere. So
Something to think about.
I don't mind swapping. I think like you should have. It should be at a higher
yeah,
risk. You know, like
the changes they made to the weapons is great. The 3 seconds
Really
is
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
so you have the armor, you'd be fine.
Yep. Agreed. Josh, you had one over there too, right? You had a question.
Yeah, I mean, I had people asking about like the Crystal Sword Fighter and how I feel about it, and same thing with for like a while, it was pretty meta for both bards and fighters to run the Rondel dagger, but on a lot of the builds I was running, I didn't think it was that different. Like I thought like the range, like they're trading range for like faster attack and damage. And if you had like a decent range weapon as a melee, you could outplay them by like jumping on something and like forcing a fight, or like situationally it would hurt them to have that. And I think the recent change to Weapon Master, where now it's like I think you lose 10% PDB, right?
Yep,
10%.
10%.
It seems fine
Yeah.
to me. It feels fair. I don't know.
I can
Eh,
touch
eh,
on that.
yeah.
I actually like Crystal Sword Fighter. There's a lot of them. It's a plague. Don't get me wrong, but like people, they're doing it for a reason, and they're sacrificing something to do it. Right? Like okay, it's a very high PDR meta, so we're going to use the magic damage melee option. It makes sense, but like to
Mhm.
do that, you are giving up a huge thing, a shield. Like you're now all of a sudden your ranger matchup is way worse. Your wizard matchup is way worse. Like when I see a Crystal Sword Fighter, I'm like, that's free real estate. You don't have a shield, you're getting ice bolted, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like there is a direct cost to like playing the Crystal Sword Fighter build. You're trying to edge one matchup and you're giving up favor in the other, and it's just a meta game call. I don't mind it at all. Now for Rondel, I think Rondel is kind of a problem. I don't think Rondel on its own is a problem. It's like Rondel and Rogue, not a problem. Rondel and Wizard, not that big of a problem. But all of a sudden, when you start pairing Rondels with shields, it feels like a problem because like they're a very high DPS weapon, and then you pair that with a high defensive statted fighter or a bard with the defensive stats of a shield, and give them the ability to parry. It does feel like it's just the best in slot melee for anybody that could use that combination. If you're a bard, if you're not using Rondel, you're trolling. If you're a fighter and you're using a shield build and you're not using a Rondel, you're kind of trolling.
Yeah, the Rondel's better than both Falchion, than the Arming Sword, than everything else. It is. It's way too good. I think that like my only take on Rondel, I don't want to hurt it for any other class. I don't want to hurt it for Wizard. I don't want to hurt it for rogue and stuff. I think you just have a damage penalty if you use a shield. Use a shield or use plate. If you have a plate piece equipped, you do reduce damage with daggers.
Yeah,
End
that's
it
not
with
bad, yeah.
fighter. There's way too many other options that they should be pushing fighter into. I know fighter's supposed to be that play whatever the fuck you want, but let's limit it so the game feels a little more rewarding for everyone playing it. Longsword is fucking horrible into it because you have 17% on hit slow. You cannot space him. He will kill you. He will jump attack you, and he will left click DPS trade you regardless because Longsword's left click DPS is shit, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And so it's super. I see a Rondo fighter. It's a here. Take my gear. I'll throw it on the ground. Let me go loot trinkets at least, brother. Like straight up, it's so frustrating.
And it sucks. Is like it's frustrating because at least most of the melee weapons in the game, there's like some counterplay. Like they have big arcing swing patterns that if you know how to move, you could like dodge things and get little finessey. But Rondo fighter, he's just in your ass, shanking you. There's no hope of dodging him. If he's aiming center mass, which they usually are, because like you don't even have to for a headshot. Your DPS is so high.
Right.
It's just like it's just kind of very strong and boring. I think it's really what it comes down to.
It's like I said. I don't like unrewarding things, and it comes off as an unrewarding thing. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
That's my only take on it. And like I said, I don't want to ruin it because Ignite Rondel Wizard was hilariously fun. It's kind of mediocre now, but it's still hilariously fun.
That's why I play.
Yeah, it's fun as hell, dude. Don't ruin it for that. Don't ruin it for rogues. What the fuck?
Man, it feels so great when you like fireball, you like instacast fireball anybody, and your ignite is up, and you have buff fresh, and then you just stab them 2 or 3 times and they die, and you're like, die. Like, I don't know, like wizard is a hard class to play sometimes, and when you beat like a barbarian by stabbing them, you're like, haha, like you're trash.
Yeah, I was playing Rondel yesterday. I had the craziest kit, and every time I play that class, I have fun. I'm like, I run to melees. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm cutting up some fighters, and then like I run to a range. I'm like, fuck, I was just playing regular wizard, and it happens every time. I'm like, god damn it, it's so fun to play Rondel, but like every time I die, I'm like, if I was just had a spell book, this guy is so dead. It's so frustrating, but that's the trade off.
Yeah, I don't know. To be devil's advocate, I just feel like Rondel is a build in most melee weapons with a higher range. If they're like going sideways jumping, or they like jump on a pot or a crate, like you win the trade. And like that's just how I feel. And also when I'm on rogue, like I feel like I can out DPS the Rondel bards and the Rondel fighters because I'm a rogue. I have like 15% PDB and like 60% armor pen. And I'm like, all right, like let's go. Like let's see who wins this trade. And so like I don't mind. And I think for me it's just like a lot of the time when something is meta, like a lot of people want to be against it. And so I just feel like it's a build that's used pretty often, but I don't feel like it has that much relative strength compared to anything else. Like I feel like a Crystal Sword fighter could beat a Rondel. Most other builds, it's only when you're at like point blank. Like if they have sprint and they have second wind and they push into you with that, they're probably going to beat you. But like I don't really feel like that's a Rondel issue. I just think it's like you needed more move speed or something.
I said I don't. It's not it's a Rondo plus shield issue. Is what I always say. And I'm like, if Rondo were just an offhand, and it would fix the problem. I think.
Yeah,
Rogue can still use it.
Take two. Yeah, it's a good take two, man.
Yeah, like I would be okay with changes. Like if you take Chris from Warlock, maybe you can take Rondel from Fighter. But like I don't know.
I just can't use with shields. If you want to play Rondo Fighter, you have to play dual wield.
Yeah, play Slayer Fighter. I mean, it fucking slaps the
tits
off
dual wield.
Still.
Play dual wield is sweet.
Yeah, it's super fun good.
I love play dual wield.
Yeah,
Bard dual wield, little Rondel Cassie on the Bard if you want to use it.
It'd be wild, yeah.
All right, quick question about religion. We haven't really talked about that much. It's been kind of a non-issue for a little while. So Grassy Tiger over here is asking if we could have special emotes for each religion or some kind of sash or a cosmetic to tell what religion each character is. I do think at one point SDF addressed that, or Terrence did, that somewhere down the road they're definitely considering or planning to have sashes, some kind of visual indicator. But emote would be kind of cool too. I don't think they did say that. Emote would be interesting.
Yeah, I want something to represent,
Yeah,
my tribe.
Some gang sides.
Yeah, give me a Tarkov armband for all I can. Just something to be cool. Well, that'd be a fun little flavor thing.
Yeah, I just want to praise the sun. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, a little.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Little Solaris.
Good old
yeah.
Solaris. I
Yeah.
talked so much shit, and then when they got the undead damage bonus, I was like, you know what? I'm Solaris now.
Yeah, I'm just here. I'm just here because I'm a Dark Souls fanboy, so I'm Solaris for that. We're praising the
yeah.
sun, baby.
Yeah, I
go.
liked as a first iteration. I think that clearly Noxulon was best. Everybody was Noxulon for the super luck, and then they sort of evened them out, and now like it's pretty fair, regardless of which religion you take. Like they're all kind of nothing, but they're all kind of something, and so that part's good. I would like to see a little bit more for it. I liked what they talked. So they mentioned that they don't really want to do armbands, and they don't really want to do emotes because it would sort of promote teaming. And I can agree with that, but I would like to see something else added. And they said that part of one of the ideas that they had was to give us like stash tab cosmetics, where you could like outline your stash tab with like snakes if you're Noxulon, or like the sun if you're Solaris. I think that would be fun. Like that's not really like a big deal. It's just something cool to have, especially to encourage donations, right? Because right now, like, there's not really a reason to donate. Most people are like,
Haven't game for
well,
die.
yeah, like whatever it is. But like, if you donated X amount, you would get like a cosmetic for your stash tabs, and I think that would be a good thing. But
Cool idea.
I
Yeah,
think a
that's
lot of
good
it
idea,
is
yeah.
a lot of it's gonna kind of foundationally rely on both guild halls and housing. Once we get those things, then Iron Mace has unlimited access to make us want to spend, right? Like we spend a bunch of gold, and you get like a furniture piece from
Some
Solaris for your
banners or
house.
something to hang.
Yeah,
that's
like
cool.
banners or like statues, or like especially for the guild hall where other people can see it. And that
Cool idea.
I think that's coming as soon as next season. I feel like pretty confident because Terrence is the one who's like really into the social aspect of the game. And it's always fun to hear him in the Q&As because he gets really excited when he's like, right now we have like the dungeon, and now we have like, SDF's vision of the arena for PvP, but I want to have the tavern, and I want to have housing, and I want to have guild halls, and I feel like he's gonna fucking cook some cool shit up. I'm ready
Agreed.
for that. Yeah. Something to
We got-
spend gold on, and just looks cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
We got more questions cooking over here. So Jared asks, a lot of streamers and players are dropping the game. What do you think Iron Maze could do to add, or what do you think they could add or change that would keep retention up? So we did touch on this earlier. I feel like the game is trending in the right direction. For a while, you guys can keep me honest here. I think we were down to like averaging between 12 and 14K, but now
Mhm.
we're back up since the loot changes. All weekend long, I saw it 20 to 25K.
Mhm.
So I don't know if all of the streamers are coming back yet. I know a couple people are kind of burnt out, taking a break, but I feel like the game is going in the right direction.
Seasonal games like this are always going to have dips and valleys.
Yeah.
If you have one bad season, people are going to drop the game for a bit, but just as fast as people will drop the game, all it takes is one good season, one good patch, and people will come back. Whenever
Yeah.
a season wipes, whenever there's a new season, that is always an opportunity for old players to return and for new players to begin. So, like, even if it's not great right now, like it could always change. Usually one good patch, one good season. That's all it takes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
true. I mean, I was at that.
Oh, you muted yourself, Augie.
Yeah, you're gone.
Oh, I
It's
thought
probably his cat.
I thought my Discord messed up. I was like, what the heck? Oh,
Man, your
gosh.
cat is huge.
I'll fix it. Yeah, his name's
There you go.
Pudge. He lives up to it.
Yeah. Not even like fat. Like he's just a big cat. Like when he's
He's
on your
massive.
chest,
He carries his
he's
weight
like,
well. Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
14 pounds, dude. He's big.
Dense.
Jeez.
And we got a runt. Her name's Eva. Dude, she's like 1/3 his weight, and he
Mhm.
plays way too rough because I taught him to play way too rough. So
Hmm.
I take full blame. But no, Pudge is awesome. Except he's a biter. Shows love by biting, so he bites my fucking thighs in my sleep, and I want to beat his ass. So it pisses me off. But no, dude, they like the game. The game was pissing me off too. And then they changed all the gear. They put a bunch of random buffs on all these other different gear pieces. I get to wear a top helm without trolling. It's fucking dope. Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
I get to wear a top helm without fucking trolling. It's fucking dope. Like, dude,
Hell yeah.
they did a great job. I love to see the hit scan scaling change on Wizard. I loved it. I think hit scans shouldn't deal the same damage as projectiles. You should be more rewarded for hitting better projectile. They should deal more damage. Bullshit. It's way harder, right? And then the loot changes. Fucking awesome. You know what I mean? It's so good. Like the only thing I want from the game now is a raid mode. Like you guys might not have got to do Wyvern big runs, right? Like I had 15 longsword bros wearing Templars and Crusader helmets meeting up in ice caves on repeat for 7 straight hours on Saturday and Sunday to go kill the Wyvern. And there was 7 people dying every time, and the boys are more worried about getting the gear out for the random dead people than getting the frost stone. You know what I mean? Like it could be so much fun. I want to see it come back. We called it the Wyvern Crusades. They were a wildly good time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So their last few patches have fucking hit it out of the park for me. I think they're doing great. I'm having so much fun playing their game again. So
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I think we end it. Augie, thanks for coming on, man. We'll have to do this again in the not too distant future. Tell the people where they can find you. I know you're on Twitch and YouTube. I think on YouTube you're just at Augieson, right? What about on Twitch? Same?
both. Yep. Both.
Yep,
Augieson.
okay.
OGGIESON. Easy.
Awesome.
I just make
All right.
boring longsword videos. It's awesome. We love them.
Yeah, they're far from boring, man. They're awesome. I get Jones to play fighter every time I watch one of those. I've even gone back and watched some of the old ones, man. It's just those were definitely some special times when the majority of people just didn't even know that.
Man.
Like a lot of people
was a
just
lot
didn't even know
simpler,
there
man.
was a right click
Yeah.
on things. Yeah.
That's
Good
so
times.
playtest,
Well, the
man.
24th is coming up this week, so we may have to do a impromptu pod depending on the outcome. Maybe even next weekend, boys.
Yep, I have to say, Odin came in chat and he said that the 24th, although it may not be the end of the trial,
There will be appeals for sure.
there will be probably a big sigh of relief to be had if things go Iron Mace's way, and so that's
Yeah.
always nice to hear.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Love that.
All right, boys.
Mhm.
It's been a pleasure as always. Augie, thanks again. Thanks to everybody in the chat and all of the
Gents.
chats. We will see you guys in the next one.
Later.
All right,
See ya.
Cheers.
fare thee well, gentlemen.
Thanks, Augie.
Stay out of HR
fun,
solo
boys.
ruins. All right, stay out. All
Nah.
I'll see you in there. Anyway,
Stay poor.
bye bye.
right, gents.
Later, buddy.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.